Namaste. Om Shri Gurubhyom Namaha. Om Shri Mahagadapate Namahali. We're going to start today's program. Indrana program is brought to you by Havyaka Association of America. Engaladundu Jnana Arthali ಒಂದು group iddu, and uh, we provide a lot of services to enrich our Havyaka community in the form of Lalita Kale, music and arts, knowledge series, and various other interest domains that would benefit our Havyaka community. For the first time today, we are pleased to bring on two major topics of interest to our Nama community. One is in Jenu Vyavasaya. Now, if you go back to our roots, ನಾವು ಪುರೋಹಿತರಾಗಿದ್ದು ಒಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ನಾವು ಕೃಷಿ ವ್ಯವಸಾಯ ಕೂಡ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಿದ್ದು, and it is in our DNA to grow and nurture agriculture as well as beekeeping is one aspect of what we do. ನಮ್ಮ ಊರಲ್ಲಿ ಸಣ್ಣದಿಪ್ಪಾಗ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಬ್ಬ ಹವ್ಯಕರ ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದೊಂದು 2-3 ಜೇನು ಪೆಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಇಕ್ಕು, and if you remember, so we actually gain a lot of inner joy and satisfaction by nurturing the Jenu Vyavasaya, and also serving other people with it. So we have two distinguished speakers. One is Sri Gopalanna Haregopa from Minnesota in USA, and then we have Dr. Shankaranna, a distinguished speaker from India. So Gopalanna will tell you about his real life experience in this extreme weather of cold and warm weather in Minnesota, how he is able to grow and maintain honeybees and beekeeping, how he is able to do it. And Shankaranna, today what Shankaranna will do is he'll give a brief overview, a bird's eye view for about 15-20 minutes about the work he has done. He has spent his entire lifetime in this aspect, and he will give a bird's eye view. And then later on, based on people's interest, we will schedule a dedicated session for him so that we get a lot of deep insight into the domain. Second major topic is art form. Now, Sanadipaga, if you go back to our childhood, ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಶಾಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ ನಾವೊಬ್ಬರು ಡ್ರಾಯಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಸ್ಟರ್ ಇರ್ತಿದ್ವು, if you remember, and we used to get very connected with that art. I still remember ಎಂಗಳ ಡ್ರಾಯಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಸ್ಟರ್ ತುಂಬಾ ಪ್ರೀತಿ ಆಗೋದೆಲ್ಲ, and we used to look forward to that art class, and that kind of builds it connects with our inner soul, and to bring out that form. I know that in the HAA community here we have many artists. Probably we have about 20 to 30 artists that we all know. Today we will feature 3 of them. From Seattle chapter we have Sangeeta Bhatt. Adadiki from Midwest chapter we will have Nirmala Mohan and Shilpa Shastri. There will be about 4 or 5 different types of art they will showcase: interior art, reality art, 3-dimensional art, mandala art, jewelry art, hangella, and we will get a good overview into the artistic expressions among our Havyaka community. With that, without any delay, he will introduce himself in a little bit later. Gopalanna Haregopa, and this is a few pictures of his hobby, and then as I said, Dr. Shankaranna from Bengaluru. ನಮ್ಮ ಊರಿನವು, but he's currently settled in Bengaluru, and I will tell more about him a little bit later. Adadiki, we will talk about the art, as I said, Sangeetaka from Seattle, and Nirmalaka from Midwest chapter on mandala and jewelry art. Adadiki, we will have relief art and typography by Shilpaka from Midwest chapter as well. So, without further delay, Let me, first of all, there is some comment. Let me see what the comment. Um, Rajendra Bhatt, who is attending today, also practices beekeeping. Wonderful. We are very joyed and grateful to you joining. You can also chime in. With that, let us go to Gopalanna Hare Gopal. I want to unmute Mariata Gopalanna. You are currently muted.
I think that I unmuted.
Namaste Ningoge.
Thank you. And let me share my screen first. Share screen. That I want to share this screen, which is, yeah, that's right. Share, unmute myself. And then, okay, so can you hear me first?
Yes,
And
Keltu.
then can you see my screen?
We can see. You can go in presentation mode.
Okay. Good
Perfect.
morning. And then, my name is Gopal Harigopal, and then I live in the Twin Cities. It's probably the ice cold ice chest of United States. It's always cold here. Um, so thank you again for this platform to present what I tried in terms of the beekeeping. Uh, I will give a little bit of introduction to myself. So my name itself says that I'm from Haregopa there. So it's a small village near Kerala Sagar. Uh, and then I came to this country in 1980 after my engineering, went to school at University of Iowa and Iowa State University. And then for the last 32 years, I have been working at 3M. Family-wise, it's Sunanda, my daughters, Smita and Anjali. And then fun activities, I like hiking, swimming, and then a little bit of camping and travel. And then, a couple of adventure trips that I've taken are I have hiked the Inca Trail in Peru, and then also quite some time back summited Kilimanjaro. That's the picture of me on the top of Kilimanjaro, which is 19,341 feet high. That was fun. So the latest hobby that I picked is the beekeeping. So as Bala said, the interest in beekeeping that comes from my Haveka background. It's agriculture, having Janwaru at home, being very close to nature. Those are the factors that drove me being interested in beekeeping. And then I also did, when I was kid, going to forest and fetch honey. And then I also knew several beekeepers. And then another thing that really helped me here is I have some beekeeper friends that actually intrigued, again, draw myself to beekeeping interest. And then I planned this one before COVID, but it worked out very well during COVID because I really didn't have anything to do. So that's why during COVID is actually I was spending a lot of time with bees. So it all started in February 2020. So there is a lot of learning that takes place, in beekeeping. It's kind of an art and then the science. So especially in the northern climate, it is a little challenging, but beekeeping in northern climate is also fun. In fact, in the United States, the maximum honey is being produced in Minnesota, North Dakota, and South Dakota. People don't think of it that way because of the spring and then the flowers and stuff like that. Maximum bee production is here. So I enrolled myself in a class at the University of Minnesota extension class. Obviously, I was the only one Indian. There were about 250 students. And then it was a one full day class. There were vendors, there were demonstrations. You learn entomologists come and then talk about the bees, a lot of things that actually takes place. And then I also have a friend, Ming Lai. He has, and then several other friends. And then he is a more than a hobbyist. He keeps about 4 or 5 beehives. And then, of course, he had to have an electric fence to, stop the bears too in his yard. So March 2020, I visited. the bee store, and then there's usually a boutique shop where you have to start gathering all the materials. So normally the beehives, bee gloves, smoker. Oh, my dog didn't come from that, bee shop, of course. And then here is the jacket that you need for the protecting yourself. And then usually all the boxes and then the frames. And these frames are, 10 frames in each box, and then I'll get into that detail. And then one thing, I don't have the frame here, but usually these frames here come with the foundation so that bees do not have to work starting building everything from scratch. They can actually draw their wax cells on the foundation. So that's why it actually goes fast. So that's kind of, was, I did not know that. I always used to the open frames and then bees building the entire wax and then the cells by themselves. So we got to order bees. So there are three types of bees, I mean, at least in Minnesota commonly, and they all come from south. During the winter, they actually have the bees. They come in the package. It costs about $165. It's about 3 pounds. And these are Italian bees. That's what the species is. They survive well in winter. And then there are other bees too, which is you know, carnelian, and then there are around the world, there are many types of bees. And then I picked up this bee, of course, which is most common. And then I was told that bees are not native to North America. They all come from they came from Europe maybe about 450 years back when the immigrants, the first migration happened. So that's when the bees, came in. So that's what I was told. So you get the bees, and then it gets delivered in the second week of April, and then you put your first box, and then you drop the bees, and then the queen. I mean, there is quite a bit of on the queen. And then you drop them in the box, and then you actually feed sugar water because there is no food for them at that given time. In April, it is not blooming here, so that's why we don't have any food. And then you figure, feed sugar water, and then also you can buy pollen patties. Those are really the patties that are made out of pollen. That's our early food for bees, and then you feed them, and then you keep them so that they eat up and then they use. So what do they do in the month of April? So this is the picture I took, when I was actually taking it out and then observing. And then you have the foundation, and on the slowly they started drawing these cells, basically the wax that they build. And then queen, I just in my photo, I just noticed that I do have the queen right there. So which is queen is really a larger size compared to all the other bees. And then I blew this one up. And then queen is the one which is laying eggs into these cells. And then the rest of the bees, they're all dunking down. Basically, it's very fun to observe them. And then they are actually feeding these, the eggs and then the larva and pupa. And then that's how, and then they cap them. Here is what you are seeing. Here is the capping. So that's how it's about 21 days when the queen actually lays the egg, and then it grows about 21 days, and then I think that the male bees takes a little longer time, and then that's how the bee comes out. So the production actually of the bees starts in the in the cells. Basically, it is the drawing of the wax, and then the cells, and then queen laying the eggs, and then all the other bees are feeding them, and the bees are so the colony starts growing.
So Shankaran,
So
Gopalanna,
uh-huh.
I think before, because people are asking questions in the chat, if there are good questions, there are questions, good, all questions are good, but if there are a question that needs to be answered right there, I will ask you, and I have one here. Anandana from, I think from New Jersey is asking, how long do you keep in the white box before transferring to the wooden hive?
Oh, which is just for a day or two. Just,
Okay.
because in the white box, it is just, you bring it as a shopping and then you bring it home and then keep it in the garage. And then you're getting your boxes set within a day or two. You start, dumping into the box so that you want to get going.
Okay. That's good. So people in on Zoom, put your questions in the chat room. People on YouTube, please put your questions in the live chat, and I will relay them to the presenter. Thank you, Goparana.
Yep. So, when the colony is growing, so you really have to have the first box, and then you slowly add the second box. You don't want to give a lot of room for the bees to start with, so that they actually pack themselves. They kind of grow here, and then you add the second box. And these boxes are called boxes, and I'll tell you why. So, but anyway, if you look at the population of bees inside your box, it's about 10% male, female or the worker bees about 90%, and you have only one queen. Queen is the most precious thing in a beehive. And then I just took the video of this one, and then you can see my laser pointer. And I was actually fascinated. So I will just show when the queen actually comes out. So the queen is coming out right here, and I'm just showing the pointer here. And then when the queen is coming, all the other female bees are ready to serve the queen bee, and you just have to keep watching them. And then it pushed the back of her body right here. I'll show you if you can see that one. It pushed the body right on the back and then lays the egg. Right now, it is laying the egg, and you can count how many seconds it takes. So if you convert that into, and then it came out, it's done. It's going to another cell and then seeing whether it can actually drop another egg there. So it drops only one egg into each cell, and then that's how it keeps moving. Let me just pointer option and then oops, 1 second. So this is a 101 of the bee production, and I thought that is fascinating. So I thought that I will share this one. So after queen has come out, and after 21 days, I really got the queen that is already being mated. So that's why I started laying eggs. But really, in a new bee hive, when the queen is being produced, usually it flies out after that, and then it mates with maybe about 12 drones, which is with males. And then it collects enough sperms for its lifetime. There's only one time it takes a flight and it mates and then collects sperm and then returns to hive. That's normally what happens. And it mates with drones from other hives, not from its own hive. And then when it comes back, it starts releasing eggs. And when eggs contact with sperm, that turns out to be a female working bee. But when the sneakers, the eggs, do not contact with sperm, that turns into a male bee. And the male bee you can actually see it, and it's a different size too. So if you really think about this, it's funny that male bee really do not have a biological dad, but male bee has a biological grandpa, but not dad. So So May, September, throughout the season, starting from May, you start seeing lots of flowers. This is again our garden. And then this is in the back. My neighbor has got a butterfly and then bee garden. These are all the bee balms. And then they start going and then getting the honey. And then not only from the flower gardens, they also go to the trees. In Minnesota, maple blooms first. Next is oak, sumac, willow, dandelions. Dandelions is another very good source of nectar and honey here. Clover honey, you see, there is clover flowers, and then the honey, you hear always the clover flower, alfalfa, and then the goldenrod. This is very prevalent in Minnesota, the goldenrod, especially on the highways, you can see goldenrod. And then this is how the season actually at different time, it collects different nectars from different plants. And then, we have some catnip, catmint, and these are the types of small flowers, but it's really bee actually goes and then gets the nectar. Along the way, it also gets to the pollen, and then pollen is a good source of protein, and then it collects pollen and then brings back to the hive. And then they bring back and then start.
So Gopalanna,
Hmm,
Prakash from I think from Seattle asked a question, and he's saying that uh, so queen bees goes outside of the hive. He's asking a question. I thought they never leave, and if they leave, then the whole hive flies with them. Isn't
okay,
that
so
correct?
the queen bee goes only once in its lifetime to go and then mate and come back. Otherwise, it never leaves. That's why I said that in the this one. So it is only one flight it takes to mate with the drones, and then comes back, and then for its lifetime, it never leaves the hive.
And the entire hive goes with her in
No,
that?
just
No.
it goes by itself. Maybe a few bees might go.
Oh, I see. Okay. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. But when I purchase the bees, it is already a mated bee. So there is a lot of production of, and in Minnesota, when they get the supply of bees in the month of April or so, there are thousands and thousands of bees people have ordered, and then these boxes come in trucks from Georgia.
Okay. And of course, Shankarana later will give us his additional perspectives. But good, this is very good information. Yeah. Yeah.
So, when these two boxes are filled up, these are the brood boxes. So this is almost like the production factory where queen is laying eggs. It's constantly reproducing here, and then this is the brood box. And then really, there may be honey, but there is not something that you want to touch this one. But on the top of this one, you start slowly stacking what we call that as supers. And then supers can go from 4 to 6 levels here. So each super is a little smaller in height, and this is where the honey gets collected and or bees store honey. And then in order to prevent uh, queen going in here and then laying eggs, what we call as an excluder. So we put an excluder there, and then it's basically a metal mesh which is small enough or the big enough for the regular bees to go up, but not for the queen bees. So it's actually, let me just take out how do I take out the pointer option here, laser? So that's, bees are pretty active during daytime, and then they bring the nectar. And then actually for the younger bees, they don't fly out. Actually, the younger bees takes the nectar from that, and then their job is early in their life is to go and store those things into these supers. So that's why younger bees actually don't take a flight out for nectar.
So one the quick question into Gopalanna that came in the channel.
Mhm.
One is when we buy the beehive, can we ask for a mated queen in advance?
Yes, when you order the bees, you actually get the bee pack as well as in a small container, you get a mated queen that comes with that bee pack.
Okay. And Aparna is asking if they decide to abandon the hive for some reason, yeah, is it possible that they all leave? Am I right? Drone or the
Yeah, yeah, it's called a swarming.
uh,
Basically, they all take off. There are many reasons why they take off. That's one of the nightmare of beekeepers is, in the beginning, because I was very kind of concerned. So that's why every day my first routine was, grab a cup of coffee and then
yeah.
go and then see the beehive, whether bees are there or not. So,
Okay.
that's called swarming.
Right, right. And then, of course, Shankarana, Rajendrana later on will chime in additional information. There was another question from Aparna. Drone or the male bees dies after mating with the queen. Is that correct?
That is correct. So the drones die right after mating, and then also the drones are in the hive, and before the winter, basically all the hives that are all the female bees actually kill them. because they are useless, basically, the male
Oh,
bees. So that's
okay.
why they actually kick them out and then they kill them to some extent. And you see a lot of dead drones in the, before winter because they don't want to keep feeding them
Okay.
in winter. So
Fascinating.
it's very fascinating.
Yeah. So we have on YouTube we have 600 families people watching, and on Zoom we have about 50 families here. So a lot of audience. So far, no question on YouTube. All questions are coming in Zoom. Keep going. Very nice
Okay,
question.
very good. Thank you. And then swarming. I mean, hive management is basically it is all about making sure that they are not swarming or leaving. And then also you need to reposition the boxes, frames, and then make sure that they are not producing a second queen because then it gets into complications. And then in this video that actually me and my friend we were working on the bees, and then basically he's actually trying to take a couple of frames from me and then start a new colony for himself. And then just the fact that it is, when I ordered, it's about 3 pounds of bees, and that means about 4,500 bees in that pack. But when you saw on the right hand side, it is already the colony has grown to about 45,000 bees. So that's kind of a population 45,000 to 50,000. And then this year I was lucky, and then the colony was actually very healthy and then very good. So hive management, I'm talking about, diseases is one thing that you have to watch out for. And then generally the common disease or the problems are the Vora mites. And basically they are like a small unugu. I mean, you can actually measure the number of mites in a cup. You can put the powdered sugar and then shake it. And then there is a test that I do. And then if it is certain count level is high, and they're not dangerous in the sense they actually collect those from other beehives or from the flowers. So then you can do the treatment, and then there are APO strips, there are different types of treatment. And then I also try the oxalic acid vaporizer. Basically it is a oxalic acid, you put it in, take lawnmower batteries, connect them, and then you basically vaporize. It is when I explained it to someone, they said, "Oh, Mama, it is just like dupa hakidange." It is that process, but it's with oxalic acid. So
Right.
I do treat for the diseases and then
Very good.
watch out for the voramites.
ಒಂದು ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದು
Sure.
do we need a license to keep a beehive in US and Canada?
Yes, in certain most of the cities they do need a permit. And then if you are a little bit on the outskirts, then you don't. And then most of the cities do allow the beehives.
Okay.
And then
Okay.
they might have the regulations. So you got to
Okay.
check with your city.
Okay. ಇನ್ನೊಂದು maybe a philosophical question. Why
Hmm.
is the second queen not encouraged? Doesn't it add to the production?
No, no, because that whole thing about one bee and then there is a pheromone that it releases and that's how it controls that whole thing is being controlled, and that the bee control is controlled by one queen. It's maybe similar to they cannot be two queens in England. So,
Okay. Okay. Good.
so
Okay. Very good. Very good questions, everybody.
yeah. So bee sting. I'm sure that everybody is. Oh, I'm scared of the bee sting. Bee does not actually come and sting you. There is no reason for it to actually sting you unless you threaten them. And I can put my hand in the beehive, but as long as the movement is very gentle, this is one thing that you learn with the patience with handling with the bees. You cannot be going very quickly on them. Actually, if you just so slowly move, such a gentle moves, it really doesn't bite. And it really bites only when it gets squeezed or trapped. If it gets trapped in between my glasses here, I got to be careful. So that's when it actually gets trapped. And the home treatment, whenever there is a bee sting, remove the stinger, apply baking soda, which is a paste, and it works very well. Sometimes, apply some cold ice to stop swelling. And then apply dab of honey. I always found that it's actually very soothing. And then I'm sure that in our villages, people used honey for burns or some things like that. And then I also found out that there are Manuka honey antibacterial properties, and then there are many strips that are available where it's used as a honey, which is an antibacterial. So you can get those strips in the market too. So that basically tells that honey itself is a good thing for bee bites and bee stings. So then the fun starts. I mean, honey harvesting, and this is actually, I did it twice, but I will just talk about the one in October or so. So you get the honeys, and then you really need to get set up. So it's basically, this is you pull out the frame, and then from the top supers, and then it's very beautiful to watch. It's my wife is actually looking at it and then saying that how beautifully that they have built, and then that's what she is showing. And what I'm doing on the right hand side is I built a decapping station, because those honeys are being stored and then they are capped. So the things that you need for the honey thing is, you definitely need an extractor, you need a uncapping knife, you need strainers in order to strain them. And then, of course, with a glass of beer actually helps to work on things. But when I told my daughter to get me some beer, she actually went and then got honey Weisslein and Cougar on that day. So that was kind of very interesting. So honey bottling, I mean, you can get in the market many types of honey bottles. And then when I pulled honey twice, it was actually in the fall, honey was a little more of the goldenrod color, and then it was a different taste and texture. And summer honey was more of the yellowish color. And then, you collect the honey in the buckets, and then you have the honey thing, which is actually flowing. And it's just a, fun activity. So, usually you don't first year, but I really pulled about 126 pounds of honey, and then for Shankar nights, about 50 to 55 kgs of honey. And this is all again in one box. So honey facts, quality of honey, you always taste. You look at for aroma, clarity, color, suspension. And then there is also, you see the labels, which is called unheated and unfiltered honey. And then mine was unheated and unfiltered. And basically, filtering is maybe your submicron level pollens, you take it out. And then there is always adulterated honey in the market. I mean, USA, I don't see much of this adulterated honey, but in maybe some other countries, you might see adulterated honey versus pure honey. Pure honey always crystallizes at 50 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's why it is very easy to test. If you put the pure honey in the fridge, it actually, you see the crystallization, but the sugar water and the corn syrup mixed honey may not. Uh, there are other techniques too. So then I do test on the moisture content. So 18.6 to 20% is a good moisture content, because it dries up. And honey is always very hygroscopic, so it absorbs the moisture from the atmosphere. On a humid day, you do not want to do that, or you want to dehumidify and then do it. But those are all the technicality. And honey, anything that is more than 23% moisture content, it tend to ferment. So that's not a good honey. What do you do with all that honey? A lot of friends, and then sharing with neighbors, and then my kids' friends, and all that. And then I also shared this one with um, a thank you note to two people with the Bala, um, for everything that you do. And then Anita, she's from Harigopa too, so she does teach us yoga every week. And then since I knew them, I said that, okay, let me share at least my thanks to both of them. Thank you both. So I call this as Havyaka honey. You give honey to any Havyaka, the first thing that comes to their mind is dosa. So that's why, who Anita sent me this picture of dosa and then honey. And then I will talk a little bit about Aparna too a little bit later. So I just sent her some money too. So obviously, the one of the question is what is the total cost for all this? So it took me about $180 for taking the class, and the boxes and all that frame supers, that may be about 100, and then the tools, 700 tools, maybe about $100. I just rounded those numbers. Ordering bees, about $160 for the bees. Extractors, strainers, this is for the bee extraction, it's about $290. Some of the disease treatment and maybe that. And then the bottles and labels, I bought hundreds of bottles in order to bottle them and then all that. And then it's about $1,570. But the second year cost is going to be minimum, which is going to be bottles and then, pollen patties and diseases and some of the already invested. So that's why it is not bad. But again, it's a hobby, so it doesn't matter. Yeah, you're not doing it for commercial purpose. Winterizing. This is again, I took some pictures last week or 2 weeks back when we went to snow sculptures and ice garden because this is Minnesota. We absolutely speaking, and in an absolute sense, Minnesota gets very close to Bangalore weather in Celsius. No pun intended. So with that, bees have to survive through this winter. And if you are looking for winter right now, it is sitting outside. So you take out all the supers and then they bring them to your storage. And then you have the bee, and then you just basically cover it up with insulation. It does not really insulate in the sense bees are staying inside. Now it's all packed into, today, this morning, the temperature is 2 below, -2 below Fahrenheit. And then, but basically they all huddle together and then they maintain a temperature of about 40 degrees. It's just warm enough for them to survive. And you leave enough food so that they keep eating that food in the winter and then they just survive. And then the whole activity starts again in March or April time. But this time it's going to be a quick start because there are already things are set for them and those bees are there. And queen bees probably survives 3 seasons and maybe the fourth season. That's when you bring in a new queen, you buy it in the market and then you introduce a new queen, or you are going to make a new queen by itself.
But
Um,
a few questions are there.
sure.
First of all, thanks very much for sending me a sample. It came with a lot of love from you, and it was one of the most delicious honey that I tasted, and it was very nice. Jayashree and I family, we all enjoyed it very much. And the question coming from, okay, Aparna, I think this is the Aparna you're talking about from Texas. She says
Mhm.
that we have to get approved from city, and we also have to get approved from HOA if you live in a homeowners community. Very good point. And then there is a question here: can bees handle extreme winter? How do you protect them during this extreme cold weather you're talking about?
Yeah. So, in Minnesota, last 2 weeks, we haven't actually gone above 0 degree Fahrenheit. So, I mean, we have gone up to -20 degree Celsius, Fahrenheit.
Mm-hmm.
So it is very cold. But what it is basically, and then there is a chance that the bees gets killed in winter too. Some bees, sometimes some hives do not survive. And in
Mm-hmm.
fact, I have a friend and who is a very serious beekeeper, and he has got hundreds of bees in a
Yeah,
commercial way. And he
yeah.
sends all his bees to California to almond farming during winter. They just go and then pollinate the almond trees in winter, and then they are shipped back. But here bees survive because, as I said, that within the box they maintain, they buzz and then maintain about 40 degree Fahrenheit to, and then that's how they survive in winter here.
I see, I see. And the so Prakash Anna is asking, how do they get oxygen?
Oh, so that's why I have a small hole that is being left, and then I also crack open on this side, and then bees the moisture doesn't really like it, so
Hmm.
that's why I have a moisture board inside, and then I just leave a small gap here for the moisture to escape. So the cold, moisture is a no-no, and then there is a small slit here which actually gets enough oxygen. And
Got
once
it.
in a while, the bees come and then die outside, or they just to their outside bathroom job. They come and then you can see a couple of dead bees here on the snow.
Yeah.
And this is the photo that I took yesterday.
Yeah, Anitaka also says, thanks Gopal and Gokaka for the delicious honey, loved it. And then Anand from New Jersey is asking, what is your recommended online store to buy jacket and tools?
Oh, I mean, you can go to Amazon and then buy it too. Otherwise, there are a couple of other. There is a bee something. There is a nice this one. I can get you that one maybe later. You can connect with me.
Okay. And is that a styrofoam box around?
No, it is just a thick insulation box, and then you put that insulation box, and then you have a Velcro. You put that one in. So it is just it's about $35 or so. So you can use it, and
Okay.
then I cut a hole, and then there is a hole there.
Okay. And question coming on Purnima Hegde on YouTube channel is asking, Gopal Anna, have you tried extracting propolis, royal jelly, and ventured anything in value addition of bee products?
No, I just got the wax
Yeah.
and then all the decapping and then the wax. So it came out to be this much. I did not pull all the other the wax on the frames because
Okay.
I want to keep that one for next year too, so that they can get going. But
Okay.
all the wax that I got, I just for fun, I made candles,
Okay. Okay.
just to burn some candles.
Okay. Okay.
And then
Fantastic.
so I'll go to the next one. Some bee facts, to make 1 pound of honey, there are 2 million flowers that they visit. So that means in my this one, it's about the total flights that every bee, if you take in that hive, it's about 55,000 miles just in this summer. That's what the total distance that they have covered. And one bee can produce maybe just half a teaspoon of honey in its lifetime. Just some interesting facts. They buzz around 11,400 times. Male bees don't sting, and then females sting to protect the hive. Bees have 5 eyes. Bees don't sleep still, because maybe 5 eyes they don't want to close. They assign jobs. Younger bee stays back and then do some of the work before it becomes really fully mature adults. And then I kept reading some of the things. There are many articles you can read. Honeybees can do basic math and study finds. There is a lot of fascinating work in the science field. People have experimented that they do math, but don't get bees to do your kids' homework though. um,
Yeah.
so they're not that smart, but there is a lot of YouTube as well as you can read a lot of. These are all journal papers. I mean, about these studies. But I know one thing: bees can also. This I can. I have seen it and I can prove it, and then I will. For sure, I know this one. Bees can also spell, and especially Indian bees. You got it. So in summary, it's an art, science, and love because you got to have love for the animal. And then there is a lot of things that about the bees along the way. And it's kind of artistic too, some things that you got to think as bees and not think as human beings when you are handling bees. And then they are amazing animal. I mean, when I just, keep watching them, and sometimes I can go and then sit next to the bee box and then just listen to that sound. And the details, the buzzing sound, precision of honeycomb construction, they're all, I mean, it's just the nature. It's just, it makes you wow. And then they have the organizational skills. I mean, how they actually form the comb and then how they divide up their labor and who does what. And nobody really tells, but everyone is very busy. And then how they manage their own hives. And then the work ethics, I mean, as we always call busy bees. So that's why I thought that this is an amazing animal. And oh, and there is a myth that this beekeeping is maybe male hobby. I mean that maybe. So I have a myth buster here, And then I found through this platform my friend Aparna, and then she is she asked a few questions, and then she is also we had lots of conversation, and then she is a beginner too. But she started late in Texas, and then she went through the same process as I explained, and then she had. But only thing is, I mean, because she started late, but hopefully she will start having honey. And then she always told me that Goparna, I wish that you could come here. And then Aparna, you want to say hello? And I applaud her because being a woman and then going and then venturing it out and then trying to do things. Aparna, are you online?
Hi, hello, can you hear me?
Let me
Yeah,
see.
go ahead.
One second.
Okay.
Let me see.
Hey everyone, it's so great meeting all of you, and thanks to Gopal Anna for delicious honey. It's amazing how honey can taste different based on the type of flowers they pick the nectar from. So really, really delicious honey. And my experience in beekeeping was just because it started because I was interested in it because of my gardening hobby. So I wanted somebody to pollinate my flowers. Um, and for the 2-3 years that have been gardening, I saw very declining numbers in bee numbers. So I started beekeeping for that. And last year we had really good production in my garden just because of these bees, I think. So I'm really happy for that. Although I did not harvest any honey because it was my first year, I just left all the honey for them to survive through the winter. I hope they make it. But I enjoyed having them in my yard and getting some help with pollination.
Yeah, Aparna, hats off, and then we'll be in touch, and then you'll have honey, and then I want to taste your honey next year. And then
Hopefully.
as
And
you
here is
said,
the frame that you were talking about earlier. You wanted to show the frame. I don't know if people can see. I'm just holding it. If you see my picture or my video, it's
I think
here.
that I'm not seeing it. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank
Good.
you.
Okay. Thank you. Aparna, you said that it is, really your harvest actually came out good. And then I just want to, lead that with, you led that this one. If, Albert Einstein said that if bee had disappeared off the surface of globe, then man would have only 4 years to life left. No more bees, no more pollination, no more plants, no more animals, no more man. I read this just quote, and then that actually made me pause. And then I also heard that there was no bees before in the North America, and how is that possible? So I don't know, but basically he didn't mean exactly bees, the insects, and then all the pollinating animals. Probably that's what he meant.
Mhm.
And lessons learned, if you want to try some hobby, don't wait. I felt that, oh man, I mean, I waited and I should have started long time back. So that's why I don't, but it's never too late to start anything. You need to spend some money to do any hobby. And it doesn't have to be this hobby. It can be anything else, anything that you do. And it's well worth it. Try to learn some techniques and science behind it, anything that you do. I think that it just gaining knowledge. And then I felt more than bees, I just learned so much about bees, honey, and so many things. So it was just those are the lessons learned. And then I think that because of the time, I want to make sure that, so I want to leave time for any questions at this point.
Okay, this is very, very good. Are there any other questions? Please start asking now, and then we will move on to Shankaranna's presentation in a bit. Let me see if there is anything on YouTube. People are saying excellent information on beekeeping, very interesting session on beekeeping, amazing, dedicated hobby in cold cities, commendable Gopalanna, all those, but no specific questions there. Are there any other questions for Gopalanna? Brilliant presentation, Gopalanna. You are indeed an excellent teacher about honey and bees. Just structural engineering, somebody says. Great presentation. I'll be in touch with you. Fantastic presentation. So, a lot of compliments. Very educational. And once again, thanks for the love and thanks for sending to some of us your honeybee, honey samples. It was wonderful. And so we will follow up with you, Gopal, and a lot of people are going to contact you privately. Yeah. And
Absolutely.
Then,
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So with that, we will get to, I know that Rajendran also said that he is also into beekeeping. We just came to know, and we will give you another opportunity some other time. But let us get to Shankarana.
Yeah,
so,
and then just again, as I said, that I'm a kindergartner as a hobbyist, but Shankaran, I'm glad to have you there, and then you're definitely, it's a very different level. So I'm glad that you joined. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so
I'll stop sharing.
Thanks, Gopalanna. You can stop sharing your screen, and if you want.
I did that.
Shankara, idu Gopalanna, ningala email idea idalli channel post madike atha WhatsApp.
Yeah, I will do that. Okay. We'll get connected.
So. Okay, let me see. I will stop. Okay, then. Okay, now I think Dr. N.S. Bhatt should be able to
share my screen.
Namaskara, Shankarana.
Namaskara. Good morning. Good morning, everybody.
Good evening to you. He's coming to us from Bengaluru, taking the time to come and present to us. So Shankarana, let me give a quick overview about him.
Yeah.
As Gopal Haragopal said, he spent his entire lifetime on this field. He's a professor. He was a professor and university head of Department of Apiculture at the University of Agricultural Science in Bengaluru. BSc in Agri from UAS Bangalore 72, MSc GB Pant University Patna 75, and PhD from Punjab Agricultural University Ludhiana in 79. He worked as an assistant professor at PAU 80 to 83, assistant professor at UAS Bangalore 83 to 89, and 92 to 2002 professor of apiculture. And then he taught a course in insect physiology and various bee-related courses to undergrad and postgraduates. He guided many postgraduate students, published 60 research publications, carried 9 national research projects, 2 patents in partnership, published 6 ethical books, released 4 video programs in bees in Kannada and English. That will be very worthwhile watching. 4 different techniques in beekeeping, discovered bee repellent plant for wild bee honey harvest, trained more than 2,000 farmers in beekeeping through arranging training and lecturing on honeybees. So we are honored to have this extremely talented and highly accomplished domain expert, Shankarana. Namaste.
Namaste.
You can share your screen, Shankarana.
Okay. Is it visible now?
It's coming up. Yeah, it's visible.
I can go for full screen?
Yes.
Okay. At the outset, good morning to Havyaka diaspora of both US and Canada. And at the outset also, let me thank profusely Balanda for having invited me to share in the few things in this platform. I also thank my son-in-law Giri to have linked me to Balanda. And I also heard a good amount of American beekeeping knowledge by Gopalana. It is wonderful. And he is now obviously a successful beekeeper and most eligible beekeeper to advise others as to how to go about beekeeping. Now, of course, I think there is a limitation of time, and I am given about 15 minutes or so. Let me try to squeeze. Now, this screen you can as well appreciate. The bees are very friendly, by the way, and nobody need to be scared about it. Only thing, as Gopalana said, you should know how to handle it like babies. Okay, so without injuring them or without irritating them, you can as well handle, and they are very friendly bees. In fact, the mellifera bees that are there in United States and European countries, they are much milder compared to our bees in South India, particularly Indian bees. They are very more notorious compared to mellifera, though mellifera looks quite large in size and big in number. And this I want to display. This is our MSc student, and who covered the head with bees, and he made a Guinness World Record, and he covered his head for about 4 hours 10 minutes 5 seconds. He exceeded the record registered earlier, 3 hours and little more, with about 60,000 bees. And these are not mellifera bees, these are Indian bees, that is called Serrana bees, Serrana. And what Gopalana and others in the US, they have only mellifera bees, and we have all kinds of bees in India. Yeah. As Balana requested, he wanted some display of the apiary. Apiary means the place where the beehives are kept in large numbers. And this is a mellifera bee. We have in India mellifera bee, Serrana bee, and other wild species also. In the later slides, I will be showing you few of them. So this is one of my students who have become a beekeeper. He is doing some migratory beekeeping. As in USA, you may be knowing that most of the people are migrating. Just Gopalana said, there is one 80 company which has about 82,000 bee colonies has claimed, and huge thousands of kilometers they migrate. To say, California, the almond orchards are to be pollinated exclusively by bees, and without bees they seldom get any yield. 80% of the bee colonies are deployed in the gardens of almonds. Okay, so USA is the highest almond supplier to the world. So bee and almond go hand in hand. Without bee, no almond. So most important, therefore, people migrate in thousands to the almond orchard, and beekeepers get a lot of revenue out of it as a rent. Now, of course, such a very long migration is not there in India. However, there is a good amount of migration in the Indo-Gangetic plains, right from Bihar to Rajasthan. The beekeepers migrate their colonies looking into various crops. And migration is especially done because of the change in weather, as you said. When the temperature, going below 10 degree, the flight activity comes very less, and they confine themselves to the hives, and therefore they have to shift to elsewhere, or otherwise if they try to fly, they may collapse on the way, and also they will not get anything when the bay activity is not there. Only thing is you have to watch for another 5-6 months inside the confinement. So when they are shifting or migratory beekeeping, they can shift to crop and harvest a lot of honey. So in a way, a bee colony can harvest, and as Gopalana said, he also harvested good amount of honey. I am really surprised that his average yield is very good, and I can say he is a successful beekeeper, and I hope he doesn't get any disease or pests, and so that he can get a good amount of honey. And this is Indian bee. it is a much smaller in size compared to mellifera bee. I am not going to give a comparative, statistics or comparative characterization of these two bee species. There is a lot to be said. Maybe at a later date, if Balana gives opportunity, I can talk about it. Now these are, mellifera are not suitable for heavy rainfall areas, and mellifera is also not suitable wherever the hornets problem is there, and it is also not suitable for wherever the bird problem is there. So the Western Ghat area, coastal area, and more or less the South Indian conditions, the mellifera is not becoming a suitable species for beekeeping, and therefore we do beekeeping with the Sarana or the Indian bees. So these are.
Yeah, one question Shankarana.
Please.
Anand from New Jersey is asking, in the photo that you showed, what does different color represent?
Actually, they don't signify. Maybe they want to, give it to different areas. This is a migratory beekeeping. Actually, according to the studies, the cognition studies on bees, blue, yellow are very, attractive color. The basic color is blue, yellow, and ultraviolet color. They recognize. The bees cannot see the red color. In fact, they are red blind. So the wavelength, whip goer, in the whip goer, R is not visible to the bees, and on the other side, the ultraviolet, they can, that range they can recognize. So there is nothing much of significance. These red color boxes, they may appear like black boxes, black in color.
Got it.
So here, the Selena boxes are not all that beautiful. All, these are, use and throw boxes, because that is also a good way of beekeeping, because we have to do round the year beekeeping, unlike in United States, particularly in the northern part of United States, where 5 to 6 months you will keep it indoors. Here you have to move the colonies if so be needed, and it is a 365 days beekeeping. And generally this is a very important, this eucalyptus orchard, you can see eucalyptus, and this is a rubber. These are the highest honey yielders in the world. Okay, so eucalyptus is also known as gum trees. In fact, Australia is the one producing highest amount of honey from the eucalyptus gum tree honey. Now, equally high quantity of honey is harvested from the rubber plants. See, rubber, one very special is it is not extra floral honey. Not the honey is not from the flowers. It is from the young leaves. So it is a trifoliate, means the three foliage joined together, and from the center the secretion will be oozing out. You can virtually see the nectar dropping if you walk around in the rubber gardens, rubber plantation. Particularly, there is a lot of plantation in the South Canara around the Sulla area, and this is a wonderful area for migratory, and people from Tamil Nadu and Kerala come in large number of hives, in thousands. So that is why I highlighted this eucalyptus and rubber for beekeeping. I will go little differently now. The honey bee as such, these are super organism. See, honeybee is a very tiny insect. So unlike animals, but they have wonderful characters, and we have to learn a lot from them, and perhaps I am describing their virtues in the next slide as to what all we can learn and what all they are known for. Before that, of course, Gopalana said a few things about it. See, in a colony you can find three castes. One is a drone, that is male, and only one queen per colony. Colony means their family is called colony, and majority 99% of them are workers. And drone you don't find during an entire year. Whenever there is a swarming or whenever there is a new queen production, then only they produce a drone, because the drones are required for copulation with the new queen. So otherwise drones are not seen in the colonies. Okay, so depending upon if the situation, the drone number will change. But however, drones are very essential, and whenever its job is done, they will be evicted from the colony mercilessly. Now, this is the bees, how they are appearing. So you can see the drone bees, these are not having stings, so they are very safe and you can happily handle them. And this is the queen. You can see the abdomen. Abdomen is the posterior part of the insect, and very elongated, because this is birthed because there is a lot of egg packing inside the stomach. So it is an egg laying machine virtually, and they are capable of laying, particularly the mellifera can lay as many as 1500 eggs per day, provided the cells are available. And these are the workers, and queen is the biggest in size as displayed here, and drone is a stout bee, and you can see the big eyes, and they make a lot of noise. There is a drone activity time generally in the afternoon. I don't know in United States when they are more active, maybe in the afternoon generally. And you can appreciate the eggs lay in each of these specially designed cells. These are cradle, I should say cradle, ತೊಟ್ಟಿಲು. ಈ ತೊಟ್ಟಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದೊಂದೇ ಮೊಟ್ಟೆ ಇರ್ತದೆ. ಈ ಹನಿ ಬೀಸ್ ಒಂದೊಂದೇ ಮೊಟ್ಟೆ ನೆಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಉದ್ದಕ್ಕೆ ವರ್ಟಿಕಲಿ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಪ್ಲೇಸಿಂಗ್, and one egg per cell. This is in each of these is called a cell. And ಆಮೇಲೆ ತೊಟ್ಟಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಮರಿಗಳು ಬರ್ತವೆ. Okay, this is a incubator. Incubator, I call it so because they are maintaining a specific temperature, and this temperature maintained is 34.5 degrees, and you can see virtually they are floating in the food, and these are not ordinary food, these are very sacred foods, and called royal jelly, being produced from the head glands of the honey bee. But now ಹಾಲು ಹೇಗೆ ಉಣಿಸ್ತೇವೆ ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ, ಹಾಗೆ ಈ ನೊಣಗಳಿಗೆ ರಾಯಲ್ ಜೆಲ್ಲಿಯನ್ನು ಉಣಿಸಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ಫಾರ್ ಅಪ್ ಟು 3 days generally these are exclusively fed with the royal jelly. Okay, so the royal jelly is a proteinaceous material secreted from the head glands of worker bees, and for worker bees to produce this royal jelly in large amount, they have to consume a large amount of pollen. So therefore pollen is very much essential for honeybees to consume and produce this proteinaceous material. Yeah, what you can learn from bees. First of all, I will go one by one. I think, see, all these activity, in fact you can see if you set up a observation box. If you are a good beekeeper and if you have sufficient amount to spend, you can have an observation box. The observation boxes are maybe available on the Amazon may supply, or some other suppliers will be there. You can appreciate all their virtues by watching across the glass window. Now, social living. So it is a huge family, as you all know. As he said, 60,000, 50,000, 60,000, such a huge family. There is no iota of fight among the bees. And when we grow in number, even if you cross 4 or 5, there is a skirmish within the family. But in this family, even if it grows to thousands and thousands, it is a small city by itself. So such a huge population and wonderful living, and that is what we have to learn. And it is a best example to say how to live with camaraderie. Now they are very industrious. Why they are industrious? It is a 24/7 work, 365 days, and particularly in Indian conditions and in tropical conditions, it is a 3 shift. They work in 3 shifts, not in a strict sense of the word. The day and night work. The bees go out, collect their food, bring, and then a lot of work is actually 1/3 of their lifetime is spent on collection of food. Okay, they collect. Adult life is spent inside the hive. So you can imagine what amount of work they have to undertake, and for which I will cover it in the next couple of slides. Then cooperative living. Every work that are being carried out in the hive, they have to do it in a very wonderful cooperation. See, they don't have any programming there, but how wonderfully they carry out. Of course, there is a chemical basis, and I won't be able to discuss it right away, but they are cooperating in every kind of work. 20 on the odd works are being carried out inside the hive, and every hive there is no clash of individuals that I will do this, I will do that, you don't do that. Nothing of that kind. There is no fight to work, and there is nothing like easy work to do and difficult work to do. Every bee in its lifetime will do every work one time or the other. So that is a way the cooperative living is taking place inside the hive with such a huge population. Hygiene, as already said, Gopalana said that there is a mite, Varava mite. Actually, it is a very deadly mite, and lucky that he did not have so much of incidence of Varava. Otherwise, it is catastrophic in certain parts of Europe and the United States. And hygiene is the one character very important. See, if there is a sudden death of a bee, they will just throw it out. You can put a piece of paper and worker bees will throw it out. If there is some capping, everything, dirt, they will push it out. And often, when there is a mite problem or disease problem, due to the disease, the larva, the young ones will die. They can't leave it because it is most unhygienic and the disease may spread. So the dead bees are pulled out and they are thrown. So they maintain a lot of hygiene in their home. So Swachha Bharat is such a colony, they maintain very perfectly. Sharing of food, it is a part of cooperative living. So where is the sharing of food? First of all, queen what I said, throughout its life it is not going to feed by itself. It is being fed by worker bees. What they are feeding with? They are feeding with royal jelly. What is the royal jelly? Very proteinous item. And throughout the life the queen bee is being fed with the royal jelly, and could be that is why it is living such a long time, 3 years, whereas these worker bees 5 to 7 weeks, drone 5 to 7 weeks, but the queen bee can pretty long, maybe 4 or 5 years too. Okay, the life of the queen bee all depends upon how much sperm it has packed into its spermatheca. We will discuss later. Now, that is sharing of food. Then B2B, worker bee to worker bee also, they share a lot of food. If some bee is bringing the nectar from outside, and it will share with others for storing, and royal jelly also being fed to other workers if it is needing it, and a lot of food exchange is taking place in the hive. Dignity of labor. We are very conscious of dignity of labor, but they are not. There is a dignity of labor. They are ready to do all kinds of work inside the hive, unlike human being. Perhaps the United States there is a higher dignity of labor than in the Indian conditions, because we want all workers to do certain of the things. But in honeybees, dignity of labor is highest. Each bee, after its emergence till its death, it will do all kinds of work that are supposed to be carried out by a bee. one time or other it will do every kind of work. Self-sacrifice, it is also a wonderful instinct, and the defense is very important for any organism. And as has been said, when it is stinging a human being or soft-skinned animal, it will lose its sting along with the part of the stomach. Okay, so eventually it will die. So if you are getting stung by a bee, it means indirectly you are killing one bee. So see that you are not stung profusely. I'm in a good number. So save bees by not getting stung. So self-sacrifice. Even the enemies of the bees, if they are trying to enter, then they will attack. Maybe hornet, maybe ants, or maybe lizard. They will attack. They will attack, and it is if it is a soft-skinned enemy, then it will be a sacrifice. They have to sacrifice their life. Further, thrift. Because of the thrift only we are getting a lot of honey from the bees. Okay, they save for whom? For their young ones or posterity. No, not for us, in fact. So the bees, perhaps these European bees or mellifera bees are best hoarders of honey because they have to overwinter. So for overwintering they have to collect and store huge amount of honey, and this storing ability of the honey, that is why what mellifera has been made popular with. So thrift is very wonderful character of the honeybees. And family planning. So it is running parallel to our family planning, but it is for different purpose. Now, when is the family planning and why it should be? Because family planning is when the resources are limited. So is for bees. When the food is limited and not available, then the queen will be curtailed from laying eggs. Okay. So queen, I said, is being fed with the royal jelly. So when there is a shortage of food, queen will be prevented from, feeding much of royal jelly. Rather, the workers, reduce the feeding substantially, and therefore the egg maturation does not take place in the queen bee, and it will not be able to lay eggs. Perhaps in the wintering also, the queen will be suppressed from laying eggs because it will be having a controlled feeding by the worker bees. So therefore, indirectly there is a family planning, because once the eggs are laid, the young ones will come out and the young ones have to be fed. So if there is still a shortage of food, the worker bees will eat away the young ones also, because the young ones are proteinaceous, proteinaceous material, so they will not waste it. If they can't, feed further, they will eat away and, get the protein from these larvae. Division of labor. So this is again a wonderful virtue of the honeybees. There are, I said, more than 20 jobs that adult bee have to undertake inside and outside the beehive. It may be cell cleaning, then building of the wax comb, then capping of the wax comb, then ventilation, then defense, then the feeding each other, attending to the queen, and maintaining the hygiene, and so on. Many more are there. I am not going to have the detail of it. So bees are involved, the adult bees involved in every kind of task. It may be, the period of involvement may be different, but there is a lot of division of labor, and therefore they are maintaining the organization well. Collective responsibility indirectly. Suppose there is a work like a comb building. So it is not few bees, lots of bees will come and engage in the building of the comb. If there is a defense, there is a set of bees, they will defend the colonies, and if there is more enemies are attacking, then more and more defense bees will be engaged in the defense of the colony. So the collective responsibility will keep on increasing. Need based responsibility, that is what they will undertake. respect to leadership. This is only one queen, so that is the leader. In a way, it is only queen that can manage the colony. Without queen, there is no colony. Okay, so if the colony is dead, either they have to produce a new queen, or the colony eventually has to, die off. There is no way that they can recover. Now, the respect to leadership is therefore very important. They are carefully maintaining the all aspects of the queen. They look after the queen very, very well. So they are feeding them very, very well. They can forgo their food, but they have to feed the queen and maintain its activity. So that is the respect to leadership. And next, the responsible for nature's bounty. As we all know, now in India we speak more about bees are more important for pollination rather than for honey production for us. And as in almonds and berries, kiwis, cucumbers and so on, so many crops are there, even in fodder crops in the United States like clover, alfalfa. So all these require a lot of pollination, and this nature's bounty has to be supported by the bees because they are pollinators. Now, biodiversity conservator. Why I call it a biodiversity conservator? Because it is a cross pollination which will conserve the biodiversity. So in nature there may be variety of species, and within each species there will be so many variants, and if one has to maintain the biodiversity, one has to have crossing between those species or varieties, and therefore under natural conditions they are always in the forest ecosystem, so they will maintain a good biodiversity, and that is what the role of bees would be in the nature. Harvester of natural resources. Why I call it the harvester of natural resources? Because so they are harvesting what? They are harvesting there are only two kinds of food in the nature for the bees. One is nectar, another is pollen. Pollen andre paraga, nectar andre makaranda. So this every flower almost, seed producing flower will have nectar and pollen. All may not be available to the bees, however, wherever it is. So it will go wasted. If there are no bees, pollen will fall off, because pollen per flower is produced in lakhs. But ಒಂದು ಸೀಡಿಗೆ ಒಂದು 4-5 ಪೋಲನ್ ಸಾಕು ಫಾರ್ ಸಕ್ಸಸ್ಫುಲ್ ಪಾಲಿನೇಷನ್. ಒಂದು ಸೀಡ್ ಆಗಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ 4-5 ಪೋಲನ್ ಸಾಕು. ಬಟ್ ಈಚ್ ಫ್ಲವರ್ ವಿಲ್ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಇನ್ ಥೌಸಂಡ್ಸ್. ಮತ್ತು ಉಳಿದದ್ದು ಏನಾಯಿತು? ಉಳಿದದ್ದು ದಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಫಾಲ್ ಆಫ್. ಸೊ ವಿತ್ ದ ಡಿಪ್ಲಾಯಿಂಗ್ ಆಫ್ ಬೀಸ್ we will get a lot of pollen collection. Okay, pollen is also a very good revenue generating item, and so also nectar. Bees illadre makaranda waste aagta, it will just dry up and all nectar will be wasted. So by having bees we can harvest such natural resources from our ecosystem. This is a variety of honey, and you can see wide range of honey here, color amber, dark, then almost white colored also. So depending upon the flower, the color of the honey will change. Okay, so for example, in our cases we have mango honey which is very dark. We have pongamia honey which is very light colored. We have sapindus or noreka ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೇವಲ್ಲ, ಅದರ honey is a golden color, most attractive. So something like this. So mango honey will be something like this. Clover honey is white. It appears to be a crystallized one, white honey. So range of colors, and there is a range of aroma, range of color, range of viscosity. The attraction of each of honey is quite different. We have variety of beers. You can try varieties of honey as well. So now how great the honeybees are. Now ನಾವು ಹೇಳ್ತೇವೆ ಕಲ್ಪವೃಕ್ಷ ಅಂತ. ಕಲ್ಪವೃಕ್ಷ because it is a multiple use of kalpariksha. So also the cow, holy cow, multiple uses, not only milk and so many other uses. And honeybees is exceeding them, I should say. Bees marvel with their product diversity. All these very precious products are coming from honeybees. And an example I have picked up is Manuka honey, which is a New Zealand flora. Actually, Manuka species is from New Zealand. It is claimed to be highly medicinal for its antibacterial activity. So they are doing a big business, and it is very costly honey. And there is a Manuka factor, and depending upon the Manuka factor, the cost of the honey will change. Next is the wax is also fairly costly. It is used in various polish industries and your creams, maybe even creams applied on the body as well, and fairly cheaper compared to this. And bee pollen, it is a highly proteinous product, and by keeping a pollen trap, we can collect a lot of pollen. I think Gopalana can try pollen trap if there is a good amount of pollen being collected during that spring or summer season. So pollen also fetches a lot. But one thing one has to be careful is one should not be allergic to a particular kind of pollen. Some are quite allergic to specific kind of pollen. One has to be careful. And this pollen also can be provided to the bees, back to the bees when there is a pollen dearth, when the pollen availability is depleting in nature. You can provide this pollen being collected in some other season. Next is the propolis. Someone asked the propolis. All species of bees don't collect propolis. For example, Indian bees don't make propolis, and the yellow bees that he has shown, yellow bees, that is Apis mellifera ligustica. That particular bee collects a lot of propolis, and this is also highly medicinal. It has a lot of medicinal use, and it fetches good amount, in the form of capsules. In the Indian market, I have shown all these costs in the Indian market. It is available here. Another is royal jelly. It is a wonderful product. It extends the lifespan of human beings. Supposed to, it is as it is claimed. Japan and Germany are the highest importers of this royal jelly, and China, Vietnam, Thailand, these are producing the highest amount of royal jelly. They are producing in tons. Okay, now that is why Japanese people can. There are hundreds of Japanese who live more than 100 years, and so also Germany, a lot of people live beyond 100 years. And highest consumers of royal jelly is in these two countries. Coming to the bee venom, it is another precious product, and it is highly medicinal again, and it is being used for joint problems, arthritis, rheumatism. It is being used for treating such of these patients. So in a way, honeybees are like kalpariksha or our holy cow. Now, coming to the species of bees, which generally, you see only Apis mellifera. Now, as Gopalana said, and it is true, originally American continent did not have any honeybees. Okay, honeybees were not there, and it is actually migrated by human beings, the migrant people from Europe, and then later on spread across the continent. Otherwise, they didn't have honeybees. So this is a European bee or Apis mellifera, and there are about 20 subspecies or varieties of Apis mellifera, and these are all high-yielding ones. High-yielding ones because of their size. And one thing I observed during my visit to states, that in summer, there is a day length is very long. In India, the working time of bees may be around 6 to 8 hours. I think in United States, in the northern part, the working time of the bees may be run into 12, 13 hours. So that may be the reason why you are getting a good amount of honey by these bees. And this is the Indian bee. ತುಡು ಜೇನು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೇವೆ ನಾವು. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಈ ಮಡಿಕೆಯಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಟ್ರೆಡಿಷನಲ್ ಟೈಪ್. ಇವು ದೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ಫಾರ್ ಟ್ರ್ಯಾಪಿಂಗ್. ಇಂಥ ಮಡಿಕೆಯನ್ನು ಇಟ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ ತೋಟಗಳಲ್ಲಿ, ಅದು ಮರದ ಮೇಲೆ ಇದನ್ನು ಬಾಯಿ ಮುಚ್ಚಿ ಒಂದೆರಡು ತೂತು ಹೊಡೆದಿಲ್ಲ ಸೈಡಿಗೆ, ದೇ ಹ್ಯಾಂಗ್ ಇಟ್ ಆನ್ ದ ಟ್ರೀ. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಡ್ಯೂರಿಂಗ್ ದ ಸ್ವಾರ್ಮಿಂಗ್ ಸೀಸನ್ ದಿ ಕಾಲನೀಸ್ ಕಮ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಸೆಟಲ್. ವೆನ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಫುಲ್ ವಿತ್ ದ combs, they just harvest honey and leave to itself to survive nature. This is comparatively much smaller than Apis mellifera. ಒಂದು 80 milligram ಇದ್ರೆ this will be around 60 milligrams individual bees. ಇದು ಕೋಲ್ ಜೇನು. You don't see both this bee, you don't see in United States. You see only mellifera in United States or American continent. No other honeybees. This is coal jenu anta. Coal jenu because it is nesting on a twig like this, and you can see this is the honey crust around the twig, and you can just scrape it up and get the honey, and they can rebuild the comb here. So that is how you can harvest it. And these are very seasonal. Onde jagadalli iralla. About 5-6 months they may remain on a place, and then they will desert the place and move to another place and so on. And Jenu is a wonderful species, and larger than Apis mellifera. It is also known as rock bee because they nest in aggregation. This is in aggregation, and underside the water tank, underside the parapet, and in dam sites. You can see in various places. In forest, we have noticed in certain of the trees, high trees, we could look at many trees with the 50 to 100 honeybee colonies. Okay, and these are highly seasonal. They keep migrating. It is said that they can migrate 200 kilometers, season after season, because one season when the flowering is all over, they will desert that place, desert their comb, and they will migrate to a place where the flowers are available and nest again. So they keep to and fro, moving to and fro to flowering area to another flowering area. Jenu. And the honey yield is also quite high, and they are but ferocious. One has to take care of how to handle it. Okay, so there are ways to handle it. We have found certain plant materials which are repelling these bees, and there are certain chemicals now we have that which can repel these bees. ಇದು ಮೊಜೆಂಟಿ ಜೇನು ಅಂತ, ಮೊಜೆಂಟ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ನಸರು ಜೇನು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಸ್ಟಿಂಗ್ಲೆಸ್ ಬೀಸ್. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಅರ್ಬನ್ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಆರ್ ವೆರಿ ಫಾಂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿಸ್ ಇನ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಗ್ಳೂರ್ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ದೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ಸ್ಟಿಂಗ್ಲೆಸ್. ಇದು ಚುಚ್ಚಲ್ಲ, ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಹ್ಯಾಂಡ್ಲಿಂಗ್ ಈಸಿ. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಕ್ಲೇಮ್ ದ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಹನಿ ಪಾಟ್. ಇದರದ್ದು ಕೂಂಬೆಲ್ಲ ಬೇರೆ ಥರ, ಇದು ಪರ್ಲಿ ಕೂಮ್ಸ್. ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಬ್ರೂಡ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಯಂಗ್ ಒನ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ದೇರ್ ಇನ್ಸೈಡ್, ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಹನಿ ಸ್ಟೋರ್. ಹನಿ ಮತ್ತು ಪೋಲನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಇಂಥ ಪಾಟ್ಗಳಲ್ಲಿ, ಸ್ಮಾಲ್ ಪಾಟ್ ವಿ ಕಾಲ್ ಇಟ್. ಸೊ ದೇ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಇಟ್. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಹೈಲಿ ಮೆಡಿಸಿನಲ್. ದಿ ಹನಿ ಆಫ್ ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ ಹೈಲಿ ಮೆಡಿಸಿನಲ್ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ the wax or the propolis, it is not pure wax, it is a mixture of plant secretion and wax all mixed together, and it has a high medicinal value and antioxidant value in that will certain of the chemical properties transferred into this honey, and that is what it is claimed, and because of the antioxidant property it is under great demand. ಈಗ ಒಂದು ಅಮೆಝಾನಲ್ಲಿ 1 ಕಿಲೋಗೆ 4,000 they charge 4,000 per kilogram, but yield per colony is very less, and annually we can get about 300-400 grams per colony. Now worker bees are okay.
ತುಂಬಾ ಕ್ವಶನ್ಗಳು ಇದ್ದು, ನಿಗಳದ್ದು how many more slides you have before ask the questions?
Just wait. ಆಯ್ತು, ಒಂದೇ. ಇದೊಂದು ಲಾಸ್ಟ್, and partly I have already said about it.
Okay.
This is when I said workers are alcoholics, so 24/7 workers, and you can see these are the age dependent working. So that is how genetic expression. Okay, with the age, the gene for these works will be expressing. And first is cleaning job. This is what the cleaning job. Remember one thing: unless the cells are cleaned or polished by the worker bees, queen is not going to lay eggs. So each cell should be polished well before queen will check, and whether if it is polished, it will lay eggs. Now this is the feeding, nursing. So these are all surrogate mothers. The mother, which is queen, its only job is laying eggs, nothing else. And drone's only job is mating, nothing else. All the rest of the works, entire looking after the colony is by workers, and this is the action of feeding the young ones by royal jelly. Okay, the secretion from the head glands. Idu festoons, they have festoons, and they make new comb. You can appreciate. Okay, white wax secretion. These are secretion from the underside. ಇದೇನು ಹೊರಗಿಂದ ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದಲ್ಲ, ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಓನ್ ಸೆಕ್ರಿಷನ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದ ಗ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡರ್ ದ ಅಬ್ಡಮನ್. ಇದು ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಂಗ್. ಒಮ್ಮೆ ಇದು ಹುಳ ತಿನ್ನುವ ಸ್ಟೇಜ್ ಆದಮೇಲೆ ಇಟ್ ರನ್ಸ್ ಫಾರ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ 5 days, ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಕ್ಲೋಸಿಂಗ್ ಡೌನ್. ಆಮೇಲೆ ದಿಸ್ ಹುಳ ಆರ್ ದಿ ಲಾರ್ವೆ ವಿಲ್ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟ್ ಟು ಪೀಪಲ್ ಸ್ಟೇಜ್, ಅಂದರೆ ಕೋಶಾವಸ್ಥೆಗೆ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ ವೆನ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪ್ಡ್, ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದೆನ್ ದ ಅಡಲ್ಟ್ಸ್ ವಿಲ್ ಎಮರ್ಜ್. ಇದು ನಾನು ಏನು ತೋರಿಸ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂದರೆ, ಐ ಸೆಡ್ ಮೌತ್ ಟು ಮೌತ್ ಫುಡ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಚೇಂಜ್. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಲಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಫುಡ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಚೇಂಜ್ ಟೇಕ್ಸ್ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಇನ್ಸೈಡ್ ದ ಕಾಲನಿ. It is can communicate the chemicals, it can communicate the nectar, it can communicate the royal jelly. So this is called trophallaxis. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಡಿಫೆನ್ಸ್ ನೋಡಿ. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಹಾರ್ನೆಟ್. ಈ ಸೆರೆನಾ ಬಿ ಅಂದರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ಬಿ ಇಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಗುಡ್ ಇನ್ ಡಿಫೆನ್ಸ್ ಕಂಪೇರ್ ಟು ಮೆಲಿಫೆರಾ ಬಿ. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಹಾರ್ನೆಟ್ ಬಂದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಬಾಲಿಂಗ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಬಾಲಿಂಗ್. ಸೊ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಮುದ್ದೆ ಆಗಿಬಿಡ್ತದೆ. ಆಲ್ ದ ಬೀಸ್ ವಿಲ್ ಕವರ್ ದಿಸ್, ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ವೈಬ್ರೇಷನ್, ದಿ thermal level will increase 40-45 degree ಕೊಂಡೋಗುತ್ತೆ, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ವೈಬ್ರೇಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ದೀಸ್ ಥೊರಾಕ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ದ ಭುಜಗಳನ್ನು ವೈಬ್ರೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ದೆನ್ ಡ್ಯೂ ಟು ದ ಹೀಟ್ ದಿಸ್ ಹಾರ್ನೆಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಡೈ. ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ವೇ ದೇ ಡಿಫೆಂಡ್. ಇದನ್ನು ನೋಡಿ, ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಬಿ ವಿಚ್ ಮಸ್ಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಇಂಟ್ರೂಡೆಡ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಸಮ್ ಅದರ್ ಕಾಲನಿ. ಒಂದು ಕಾಲನಿ ವಿಲ್ ನಾಟ್ ಎಂಟರ್ಟೈನ್ ಬೀಸ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಅನದರ್ ಕಾಲನಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ಲಿ. ಸೊ because colony will have its own order, so they will detect the order from another bee. Okay, so when the bee from another box is entering, they will be prevented or attacked. So that is also a kind of defense. And these are the two activities very important: pollen collection and nectar collection. And nectar is being collected and on the nectar bag ide. So okay, honey stomach anta, so ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ, and some enzymes will be mixed, and they will go back and deliver it in the hive, and ultimately that will convert into honey. Okay, we don't have time for all those things, and I will close up my presentation. Be busy like a bee.
So ತುಂಬಾ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿತ್ತು ಶಂಕರಣ್ಣ. I think you are such an oasis of knowledge, the gift of jnana here in this domain. Obviously we can see you are a domain expert. Let me spend just one quick minute. Of course, before I say that, thanks very much to Girish and Panatarka for introducing to us. As you said, that I did not know, I heard about you, but I did not know about your so much of domain expertise. This is just fantastic. And some of the questions here, I guess there was a question about, Krishna had asked about when the bee boxes, these boxes are so close, how do the bees identify their respective box? Is that through some kind of a smell or some kind of some other mechanism? What is the question?
Yeah, but we do not know totally what is the kind of order that is being attracted. Partly bees in a body order ಇದೆಲ್ಲ, there are certain hydrocarbons that are there in the body, and And honeybee smelling capacity is 100 times more than us. Even it is much beyond the capacity of the dogs. And yeah, extraordinary, olfactory ability.
Okay.
And because of this they can sense few molecules also. So particular coloniಗೆ ಅದರದ್ದೇ ಒಂದು chemical combination ಇದೆ. So they will smell it up. But drones, the male bees are, welcome by any colonies.
Got it.
Male bees ಏನೋ ಇದಿಲ್ಲ, ಪಾಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲ, green card.
Right, right. And another question that came that is honey the food for the bees, or do they consume
Not audible.
Okay. So
What is the question? What is the question?
The question is, do bees consume only honey from the flowers, or do they consume any other food?
Yeah, they can go to sweet shop also. If there is
Any kind of food they eat, is it? I mean,
sugar.
Oh,
Sugar. They are fond of sugars.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay, and the other question is that somebody is asking. They heard that pollen. People have pollen allergy. The honey could be very beneficial for people with pollen allergy. Is that true?
Question not clear.
Yeah. So this question is more about medical benefits of honey. So we can cover that some other time.
If you are allergic, it is dangerous, no?
Right. So they are saying if people have pollen allergy, then honey will kill it, type of question. Okay. Lot of good questions are coming. I think it's only fair to let Shankaran. We'll give him some dedicated time, and we truly appreciate he taking so much of time and dedication to present to us some valuable information. Thanks to both Gopalanna, Shankaranna, and I think it was Aparna, right, from Texas. Thanks to all of you for sharing the wealth of knowledge and with our community on this very interesting topic. And standing ovation to all of you. We have over 1,000 people, enjoying and gaining the knowledge that you have shared. Shankaranna, I think what we will do is that to be only fair to you, we will dedicate some more time for you, and we will learn from you a lot more about this domain. And also, Shankaranna, I did not know about your. We will try to see if we can accommodate time for you as well.
And let me also thank again Balanna so much for having spared time for sharing my few knowledge.
Thank you, Shankaranna.
Shankaranna, just one last, I want to thank you because I did not know so much about the Indian, the beekeeping, and then we'll be in touch. And then there looks like there are a couple of other people who are all interested, and then maybe we can have another time. We'll connect with you, and then I'm very glad that
we can have a separate beekeepers Zoom meeting itself.
Yeah, so we'll do that, and then thank you.
Because I will also learn a lot because your conditions are quite different.
Yeah.
And then the Shivanna commented in the channel that when you showed the spiritual perspective about the values that we show us, he commented that this is probably why people call their spouses honey, because you respect each other's working so hard. And very well done. With that, I think what we would like to do is that at this point in time, we will give fair time to the artists. I would like to switch over to Sangeetaka. Namaste, Sangeetaka from Seattle. Matadu Kirta.
Namaste, Balana, and namaste, everybody. Kelta idda?
Kelta iddu. Very good.
Thank you. Yeah, go ahead, Balana.
ಈಗ ಸೊ ಸಂಗೀತಕ್ಕೆ ನಿಂಗ್ಲೇ ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ನಿಂಗ್ಲೇ ಇಂಟ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ ಅಲ್ಲ ನಾ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ
Sure, I can introduce myself.
Yeah, we will go with Sangeeta Akka first, and then we'll go to Nirmala and Shilpa in Nirmala Akka, Shilpa Akka in Midwest chapter in Chicago. Yeah, go ahead, Sangeeta. Yeah.
Sure. Thank you, Balana. Hi, everybody. I'm going to share my screen. Please let me know if you can see my screen. 1 second.
We can see.
Let me drag this one. Yeah.
You can go to full screen. Yeah.
Yeah,
Awesome.
you can see my screen, right?
Yes, beautiful. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. ಸೊ ನಮಸ್ತೆ ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ. ನನ್ನ ಹೆಸರು ಸಂಗೀತಾ ಭಟ್ ಹೇಳಿ. ನಾನು ವಾನಹಳ್ಳಿಯಿಂದ, ನಾನು ಸಿರ್ಸಿಯಿಂದ 24 ಕಿಲೋಮೀಟರ್ ದೂರ ವಾನಹಳ್ಳಿ ಹೇಳಿ. ಸೊ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕುಂಬಾರ್ಕೊಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಹೇಳಿ ನಂದು ಮೂಲ. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ನನ್ನ ಗಂಡನ ಮನೆ ಬಿದ್ರೆಪಾಲು ಹೇಳಿ ಯಲ್ಲಾಪುರದ ಹತ್ರ ಬತ್ತು. ಸೊ ನಾನು ಹುಟ್ಟು ಬೆಳೆದಿದ್ದೆಲ್ಲ ವಾನಹಳ್ಳಿ ಹತ್ರ. ನಂಗೆ ಸಿಯಾಟ್ಲಿಗೆ ಬಂದು ಸುಮಾರು ಒಂದು 4-5 ಇಯರ್ಸ್ ಆಯ್ತು. US ಸುಮಾರು 15 ವರ್ಷದ ಮೇಲಿಂದ ಇದ್ಯಾ. ಸೊ ನಂಗೆ ಸಿಯಾಟ್ಲಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ಯಾ. ನನ್ನ ಗಂಡ ಮಾಬ್ಲು ಮತ್ತೆ ಸನ್ ಆರ್ಯ ಹೇಳಿ, ಹೀಸ್ 6th ಗ್ರೇಡರ್. ಸೊ ನನಗೆ ಆಸ್ ಅ ಚೈಲ್ಡ್ಹುಡ್ ನನಗೆ ಐ ಲೈಕ್ ಆರ್ಟ್ ವೆರಿ ಮಚ್. ಐ ಆಮ್ ವೆರಿ ಪ್ಯಾಷನೇಟ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಆರ್ಟು. ಸೊ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾನು ಈವನ್ ಇನ್ ಮೈ ಕಾಲೇಜ್ ಡೇಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲೂ ಐ ಟುಕ್ ಟೆಕ್ಸ್ಟೈಲ್ ಆಸ್ ಮೈ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಇನ್ ಇಂಜಿನಿಯರಿಂಗ್. ಸೊ ರೈಟ್ ನೌ, ಇವನ್ ದೋ ಐ ಆಮ್ ವರ್ಕಿಂಗ್ ಇನ್ IT field with Costco, I'm very passionate about interiors and art. So let me start with one of the interesting stories here, because art has taken me long way. What happened was, ನಂಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ USA ಬಂದ್ವಲ್ಲಿ, ಅವಾಗ ಎಂತ ಆಯ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ನಾನು ತುಂಬಾ ಫ್ರೀ ಹ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಬಿಡಿಸ್ತಿದ್ದೆ ಪಟ್ಟಿ ಮೇಲೆಲ್ಲವ. ಸೊ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಲಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಪೇಜಸ್ ಇತ್ತು ಫ್ರೀ ಹ್ಯಾಂಡ್, ಇನ್ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಫ್ರೀ ಹ್ಯಾಂಡು. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ತೋರಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಿದ್ದು ರಂಗೋಲಿ, ಬಟ್ ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಫ್ರೀ ಹ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಪೇಜಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ತುಂಬಾ ಇತ್ತು. ಸೊ ಮೈ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಇಂಟರ್ವ್ಯೂ ವಾಸ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಟೆಕ್ಸ್ಟೈಲ್ ಫೀಲ್ಡ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ. ದ ಜಾಬ್ ವಾಸ್ ಟೆಕ್ಸ್ಟೈಲ್ ಫೀಲ್ಡ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಆಸ್ ಅ ಟೆಕ್ಸ್ಟೈಲ್ ಡಿಸೈನರ್. ಸೊ ನಾನು ಎಂತ ಮಾಡಿದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಐ ಟುಕ್ ಆಲ್ ಮೈ ಆರ್ಟ್ ವರ್ಕ್ ಟು ದ ಇಂಟರ್ವ್ಯೂ and presented it over there. And the interviewer, it was a very small company. So interviewer was an owner of the company. So she really liked the art, and she offered me a job within a couple of days. So that was very interesting field as a designer work ಮಾಡಿದ್ದು. ಸೊ ಅದು ಎಂತ ಆಯ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಮಜಾ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, I was fortunate to design some of the name brand socks and hosiery. So it was more like Steve Madden, Nicole Miller ಹೇಳೆಲ್ಲ ಬ್ರ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಇತ್ತಲ್ಲಿ. You must have heard of those brands. But one interesting thing ಎಂತ ಇದ್ದು ಅಂದ್ರೆ, actually it's on a lighter note, some of you may or may not like. That time I designed Donald J. Trump's socks and hosiery. So on a lighter note, so let's start with the presentation ಈಗ. ಸೊ ಎಂತ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದು ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ನಾನು ಯೂಶ್ವಲಿ ಮಾಡರ್ನು ಮತ್ತೆ ಟ್ರೆಡಿಷನ್ ಎರಡು ಮಿಕ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಡಿಸೈನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿ. ಸೊ ಯೂಶ್ವಲಿ ಐ ಲೈಕ್ ಮಾಡರ್ನ್ ಕಲರ್ಸ್, ಬಟ್ ಐ ಮಿಕ್ಸ್ ವಿತ್ ಟ್ರೆಡಿಷನಲ್ ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ಆರ್ಟ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ, ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಬ್ರಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಲಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಮೆಮೊರೀಸ್ ಟು ದ ಹೋಮ್. ಸೊ ನಾ ಎಂತ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಇದನ್ನ ಈ ಗಣೇಶನ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ವಾಸ್ ಆರ್ಟ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಿ. ಸೊ ಐ ಯೂಸ್ ಲಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಬ್ರೈಟ್ ಕಲರ್ಸ್ ಹಿಯರ್. ಅಂಡ್ ಈ ಆರ್ಟ್ ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಇದು ಸಿಲ್ಕ್ ಫ್ಯಾಬ್ರಿಕ್ ಇರ್ತಲ್ಲಿ, ಆ ಸಿಲ್ಕ್ ಫ್ಯಾಬ್ರಿಕ್ ಅನ್ನ ಥ್ರೋ ಅವೇ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ತಲ್ಲಿ, ಸ್ಕ್ರಾಚ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್, ಅದನ್ನ ಕಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬಟ್ಲ ಮೇಲೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದು. ಇದು ಎಲ್ಲ ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಬಳ್ಳಿ ರಂಗೋಲಿ, ಅದನ್ನ ಪಿಕ್ಚರ್ ಫ್ರೇಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಿ. ಸೊ ಇನ್ನೊಂದೆಂತ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, I use lot of different colors here because since we live in Seattle, it's gloomy most of the time. So ನಾನು ಎಂತ ಮಾಡ್ತಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, usually I use lot of colors to my artwork, like bright colors. ಇದು ವರ್ಲಿ ಆರ್ಟು. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ I put it on a yellow background. And ಇದು ಸಿಯಾಟಲ್ ಡೌನ್ ಟೌನ್, ರೆಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟೇಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಸಿಯಾಟಲ್ ಡೌನ್ ಟೌನ್. ಇದು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ನಾನು ಎಂತ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಈ ಸ್ಲೈಡ್ ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟೇಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಆರ್ಟ್ ವರ್ಕ್ ಅನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ತೋರಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಿ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಹೌ ಟು ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಇನ್ ಅ ರೂಮ್ ಹೇಳಿ ತೋರಿಸ್ತಿ. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಆರ್ಟ್ ವರ್ಕ್ ಹಿಯರ್ ಅಗೇನ್. ಸೊ ಐ ಫೀಲ್ ಆಲ್ ದಿಸ್ ಆರ್ಟ್ ವರ್ಕ್, ದೇ ಆರ್ ಹಿಯರ್ ಟು ಮೇಕ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಚೆರಿಶ್ ಮೆಮೊರೀಸ್. So these days I'm very much interested in paper artwork, flowers also. So in summers, this is the summer flowers. So you'll get so many flowers outside, so you can use it in the summer. But winter ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಂತ ಆಗ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ I feel you have some other time also. So I feel like cutting some paper and making an art, so it brightens the home ಹೇಳಿ. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಇದು ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಇದು ಎಂತ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇದು ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಚೌತಿಗೆ ಸಿಯಾಟಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹವ್ಯಕ ಚೌತಿ ಹೇಳಿ ಹವ್ಯಕದ ಸುಮಾರು ಒಂದು 5-6 ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ ನಡ್ಕೋತಿರ್ತು. ಸೊ ಆ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ಗೆ ನಾ ಎಂತ ಮಾಡ್ದಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ಗಣಪತಿ ಮಂಡಲವನ್ನು ಮಾಡ್ದಿ. ಕ್ರೇಪ್ ಪೇಪರ್ ತಗೊಂಡು ಆ ಕ್ರೇಪ್ ಪೇಪರ್ ಕಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅದನ್ನ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಟ್ವಿಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಐ ಪೇಸ್ಟೆಡ್ ಇಟ್ ಆನ್ ಬೋರ್ಡ್, ಈ ತರ ಪೇಪರ್ ಇದು ಬೋರ್ಡ್ ಮೇಲೆ. ಅಂಡ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಈ ದೀಪ ಮತ್ತೆ ಅದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆಲ್ಲ ಪೇಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ದಿ, ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಐ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ರೆಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಫಾರ್ ಚೌತಿ ಹಬ್ಬ ಹೇಳಿ. ಗೋ ಟು ದ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಸ್ಲೈಡ್. ಅಂಡ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಮತ್ತೆ ಎಂತ ಆಗ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ಅ ವೆರಿ ನೈಸ್ ಡೇ ಆನ್ ಅ ಸಮ್ಮರ್ ಡೇ. ಅಂಡ್ ಹೊರಗಡೆ ನಂಗೆ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಯಾರ್ಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಚಲೋ ಇದು ಚೌತಿ ಹಬ್ಬ ಟೈಮಿಗೆ ಡೆಕೋರೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಹೆಂಗೆ ಹೇಳೋ ಒಂದು ಐಡಿಯಾ ಬರ್ತಾಯಿತ್ತು. ಸೊ ಡೆಕೋರೇಟೆಡ್ ದ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಯಾರ್ಡ್ ವಿತ್ ದ designs that I have, and I felt like this created lot of memories. When I look back, I still remember the event for that day atara. So here in this slide nanu enta torsti andre what all the items that I use for the decoration heli. I am sure all of you will have definitely will use all most of these though. ಮತ್ತೆ ಎವ್ರಿಬಡಿ ವುಡ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಒನ್ ಆರ್ ದ ಅದರ್ ಇನ್ ಸಮ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಇನ್ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲೂ. ಸೊ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಶೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಮೈ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೀರಿಯನ್ಸ್, ಹೌ ಐ ಫೀಲ್, ಹೌ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಮೈ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೀರಿಯನ್ಸ್ ಡ್ಯೂರಿಂಗ್ ಮೈ ಡೆಕೋರೇಷನ್ ಹೇಳಿ ತೋರಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಿ. ಸೊ ಇದು ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಸಿಲ್ಕ್ ಆರ್ಟ್ ವರ್ಕ್. ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದು ಐ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಒನ್ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಗ್ರೌಂಡ್ ಸ್ಟೋರಿ. ಸೊ ನಾ ಎಂತ ಆಗಿತ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು 4-5 ವರ್ಷದ ಹಿಂದೆ ಇಂಡಿಯಾಕ್ ಹೋದಾಗ ನನ್ನ ಅಜ್ಜಿ ಸಾರಿ ಒಂದು ಕಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿತ್ತು ಒಂದು ಬಟ್ಟೆ ಒಳಗಡೆಗೆ. ಸೊ ಅದ್ರ ತೆಗೆದು ನೋಡಕ್ಕಾರೆ ಎಂತ ಆಯ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನೋಡಿದಾಗ ಅದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಹರ್ಕೊಂಡಿತ್ತು. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಇನ್ ಅ ವೇರಬಲ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್. ಸೊ ಸಿಲ್ಕ್ ಫ್ಯಾಬ್ರಿಕ್ ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ವೆನ್ ಯು ಯೂಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಫಾರ್ ಡೆಕೋರೇಷನ್ ಇಟ್ ಗಿವ್ಸ್ ವೆರಿ ನೈಸ್ ಟಚ್ ಆಫ್ ಕಲರ್ಸ್ ಹೇಳಿ ಐಡಿಯಾ ಬಂತು. So I brought that sari here and I put it in some artwork like picture frames. Matte some of the this is a art on a plate actually. So I've tied it here on a plate and made some artwork. I'm going to show silk artwork in next few slides. So ee tara artwork ಮಾಡಿ I present it in the home so that ನಮಗೆ ಒಂದು ಹಿರಿಯರದ್ದು ಒಂದು ಟಚ್ ಇರ್ತು ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ. ಮತ್ತೆ ಅವ್ರ ಮೆಮೊರಿ ವಿ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಚೆರಿಶ್ ಆಲ್ ದ ಟೈಮ್. ಸೊ ವೆನ್ ಐ ಕಮ್ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಆಫೀಸ್ ಎವ್ರಿ ಡೇ ಐ ರಿಮೆಂಬರ್ ಮೈ ಅಜ್ಜಿ. ಸೊ ಅಂಡ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಐ ಯೂಸ್ ದ ವೇಸಸ್, ಲಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಡಿಫ್ರೆಂಟ್ ಕಲರ್ಡ್ ವೇಸಸ್ ಫಾರ್ ದ ಡೆಕೋರೇಷನ್ and some of the artworks and flowers like I show here. ಸೊ ಅನದರ್ ಇವೆಂಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ಈಗ ಕೋವಿಡ್ ಇತ್ತಲ್ಲಿ, ಆ ಕೋವಿಡ್ ಇದ್ದ ಕಾರಣದಿಂದಾಗಿ ಲೆಟ್ಸ್ ಮೂವ್ ದಿಸ್ ಅಪ್ ಹಿಯರ್ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಸಿ. ಕೋವಿಡ್ ಇದ್ದ ಕಾರಣದಿಂದಾಗಿ ಎಂತ ಆಯ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಂಗಳದ್ದು ಫ್ಯಾಮಿಲಿ ಕನ್ಸರ್ಟ್ ಹೇಳಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ ಆನ್ಲೈನ್. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಎವ್ರಿಬಡಿ ಆರ್ ಇನ್ವಾಲ್ವ್ಡ್ ಅಂಡ್ ದೇ ವಿಲ್ ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟೀಸ್ ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್ ಹೇಳಿ. ಸೊ ಅವಾಗ ಐ ಗಾಟ್ ಎನ್ ಐಡಿಯಾ ಆಫ್ ಮೇಕಿಂಗ್ ಅನ್ ಆಕ್ಚುಯಲ್ ಇನ್ವಿಟೇಷನ್ ಕಾರ್ಡ್. ಸೊ ಐ ಡಿಡ್ ಸಮ್ ಡ್ರಾಯಿಂಗ್ ಆನ್ ದ ಪೇಪರ್. ಈ ತರ ಮಾಡ್ಲಕ್ಕೂ ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಂಡು ಐಡಿಯಾ ಬಂತು. On a normal paper, I just did some drawing and sent it to the family members. So it was kind of very fun-filled event. ಮತ್ತೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಎಂತ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇದು ನಿಂಗೋ ಊರಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ನೆನಪಿರ್ತೆ ನಾವು ಅವಾಗೆಲ್ಲ ಮುಂಚೆ, ಇವಾಗ್ಲೂ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಎಂತಕಾರು ಆರತಿ ಎತ್ತವು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ದೇ ಪೇಂಟ್ ದ ಹೋಲ್ ಬಟ್ಲು ವಿತ್ ಅರ್ಶಿನ ಕುಂಕುಮ, ಬಟ್ಲ ಮೇಲೆಲ್ಲ ಆರತಿ ಬಟ್ಲ ಮೇಲೆಲ್ಲ ಡಿಸೈನ್ ಬಿಡಿಸ್ದ. ಸೊ ಆ ಡಿಸೈನ್ ಗಳನ್ನ ನಾನು ಈ ತರ ರೆಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದೆ ಹಬ್ಬಕ್ಕೆ. So this is how I represent the artwork in the room. I have a wall where I represent the artwork. ಸೊ ಈ ತರ sometimes I keep changing the artwork. ಸೊ ಅದನ್ನ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ I kind of throw it in here so that it gives a different feel ಹೇಳಿ. And this is the one I was talking about, the silk artwork ಮಾಡಿದ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಅದು. ಸೊ ಯೂಶುವಲಿ ವೆನ್ ಯು ಕಟ್ ಅ ಸಿಲ್ಕ್ ಫ್ಯಾಬ್ರಿಕ್ ಎಂತ ಆಗ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಎಜ್ಜಿಗೆಲ್ಲ ನಿಂಗೆ ಇದಾಗೋಗ್ತು, ಅಷ್ಟು ಡಿಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟೆಡ್ ಇರ್ತು, ಅಷ್ಟು ಸ್ಟ್ರೇಟ್ ಇರ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾನು ಐ ಯೂಸ್ಡ್ ಥ್ರೆಡ್ ಟು ಕವರ್ ಇಟ್ ಅಪ್ ವಿತ್ ಅ ನೇಲ್. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ಲುಕ್ಸ್ ಮಚ್ ನೀಟರ್ ಲುಕ್ ಹೇಳಿ, ಇಟ್ ಗಿವ್ಸ್ ಮಚ್ ನೀಟರ್ ಲುಕ್ ಹಿಯರ್ ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಂಡು. ಸೊ some of these are my Ajji's sarees only. And I also used Kerala Kasavu saree ಹೇಳಿ ಬರ್ತದೆ, Kerala Kasavu ಆ ತರದನ್ನ. It has a very nice gold border to it. So I've used it in the frame so that I can present it in somewhere in the hall or somewhere. So now mostly I'm going to show how I actually present it in the room. ಸೊ ಈ ತರ ನಾನು ಆರ್ಟ್ ವರ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದನ್ನ ಈ ತರ ರೂಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಫಾರ್ ಸಮ್ ಇವೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ ದಟ್. ದಿಸ್ ವಾಸ್ ಫಾರ್ ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಸ್ ಗಿವಿಂಗ್, ಒನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಸ್ ಗಿವಿಂಗ್ ಡಿನ್ನರ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ಇದು ಒಂದ್ ಎಂತ ಮಾಡಿದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸಿಯಾಟ್ಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ರಿಸ್ಮಸ್ ಟೈಮಿಗೆ ಇದು ಐ ಥಾಟ್ ಐ ಆಡ್ ಕಲರ್ಸ್ ಬೈ ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್ ಗ್ರೀನ್ ಅಂಡ್ ರೆಡ್. ಮತ್ತೆ ಸ್ಪೇಸ್ ನೀಡಲ್ ಇದ್ದಲ್ಲಿ ಆ ಸ್ಪೇಸ್ ನೀಡಲ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ರೆಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದೆ. ಆಲ್ ದೀಸ್ ವೇಸಸ್ ರೆಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ ಡಿಫ್ರೆಂಟ್ ಡೌನ್ ಟೌನ್ ಬಿಲ್ಡಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಹೇಳಿ. And also this just a different presentation and how you do it in a room. I keep my rug neutral color and wall neutral so that for different seasons if I change the frame, so then it's easier to change both frames and pillows ಹೇಳಿ. I try to do neutral. And again the artwork on a warmer background. So mostly here I've used yellows and oranges, so on a warmer background. ಅಂಡ್ ಇದು ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಊರಿನ ಇದನ್ನ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ನಂಗೆ ಊರಿಂದು ಬಾಗಿಲು ಎದುರಿಗೆ ನಾವು ರಂಗೋಲಿ ಹಾಕ್ತಿದ್ವಲ್ಲಿ ಅದನ್ನ ನೆನಪಾಗ್ತು. ಸೊ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಫಾರ್ ದಿಸ್ ರಂಗೋಲಿ ಐ ಟ್ರೈ ಟು ಟೇಕ್ ರೆಡ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಸ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಕಲರ್ ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಈ ಊರಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ಕೆಮ್ಮಣ್ಣೋಳು ಹಾಕ್ತಿದ್ವಲ್ಲಿ, ಸೊ ಆ ಶೇಡಿ ಕೆಮ್ಮಣ್ಣಿಂದು ಲುಕ್ ಬತ್ತು ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಂಡು ಐ ಟ್ರೈ ಟು ಯೂಸ್ ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ಕಲರ್ ಫಾರ್ ದ ವಾಲ್ ಆರ್ಟ್ ಫಾರ್ ರಂಗೋಲಿ. ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಮಾಲ್ ಗೋಲ್ಡ್ ಬಾರ್ಡರ್ ಟಚ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿ ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಲುಕ್ಸ್ ಮಚ್ ನೀಟರ್ ಹೇಳಿ. And also I'd use this board and I painted with the blue. You can even use any foam paint. I just used acrylic paint here. ಸೊ ಅಂಡ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದೆಂತ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸಿಯಾಟಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯೂಶುವಲಿ ನಾವು ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ವರ್ಕ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಹೋಮ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಗ್ಲೂಮಿ ಆಲ್ ದ ಟೈಮ್. ಇವಾಗ ಎಂತ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಾನು ಐ ರೆಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ ದ ಹೋಲ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ ಇನ್ ಅ ಬಿಗ್ಗರ್ ಸ್ಪೇಸ್ so that it can be used as a workspace also. So same thing I showed you before that I have a wall with the art heli. So that's the representation. So so overall I feel this art will give lot of memories and cherished memories. So what I feel is I'm sure everybody, all of your home also definitely will have some of the memories like this, I'm sure. So after all this I'm really thanking Balanna and Kripakka for the awesome opportunity to present. I'm sure you all will have definitely memories, great memories in your home decorating too. So thank you all for listening to my presentation. So entara question idre just you can ping me or tell me and ask me anytime. Thank you everybody.
Okay, so thank you very much, Sangeetaka, and also thank you very much, Krupa from Seattle chapter VP, for introducing Sangeeta to me. There are questions in the audience, Sangeeta. One is, let me see. Actually, they are more of compliments. In the YouTube channel, people barata iddu silk art is beautiful, really wonderful, and very creative. Heli. On the Zoom chat ali baritavu very nice artwork, very good presentation. Keep going. Very inspiring.
I think Gopal Anna has asked a question. Where do I live? Heli. Yeah, Gopal Anna, I live in Seattle actually. Near Anup and Archana's home, not very far from their home.
Excellent.
Have you sell online? ನಾನು ಸೆಲ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ನಿಲ್ಲ, ನನ್ನ ಫ್ರೆಂಡ್ಸಿಗೆ ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ಆರ್ಟ್ ವರ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡಿದೆ, ಲೈಕ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಗಣೇಶನ್ ಆರ್ಟ್ ವರ್ಕ್ ತೋರಿಸಿದ್ನಲ್ಲಿ. ಸೊ ಅದು ನನ್ನ ಫ್ರೆಂಡಿಗೆ ನಾನು ಹಿಂಗೆ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಔಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಮೈ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಹೇಳಿ. ಬಟ್ ಇಫ್ somebody is interested, I can help, anytime.
Thank you. Very nice. Thank you very much. Nice presentations, Sangeeta Kali Prakash is writing. So people are liking your art a lot, and beautiful day and beautiful presentations by all of you so far. Moving along.
Thank you everybody. And I have a Facebook page, Sangee's Home Decorations. You can visit anytime and let me know.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, now we will move on to Nirmala. Namaste Nirmala akka, ನೀವು ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದಿ. You're on mute.
Hi, ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಈಗ?
ಈಗ ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಿ.
ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಬಾಲಣ್ಣ and ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ everyone. ನಾನು ನಿರ್ಮಲಾ ಹೇಳಿ. Most of my family and close friends know me as Nimmi. So ನನ್ನ ಮನೆ ಒಡಿಯೂರ್ ಹೇಳಿ. I am here from last 25 years now. So my art nange sannadippagindle I liked art a lot, but not like I took any training or anything. I started with mandala drawing about 5 years ago, and I started with simple as this. Like, it's just like one day I just thought I will draw something and started going from there. So not any training or anything, but slowly, I did all this now. So over the course of 5 years, I did about 150 plus art, mandala arts basically. I had many hobbies, but this is one hobby which stuck with me for the longest. I am a kind of a person like where I have to keep on doing something. So I started with like photography, food photography, gardening, and jewelry making, and then many of those. But this is one hobby which I think I stuck to the longest, which is still I find like there is so much to learn. Like as the day goes by, I find there are more things I can learn about this art. So starting from here, you can see this is a couple of years old, one of the big ones I did. And like this one, this particular one, if you see here, it's like a sun, moon, earth and water kind of a thing. So it's all like, if you see, everything is hand drawn. But I'll show you a little later how I start the mandala with the grid and all those things. So this particular one, it's color pencils. Basically, the shading and everything is done with the pencil shading. So this is one of those pen, but if you see up close, it's very intricate, very fine lines. Everything is drawn. Some of these, like, this similar, like this size ones, it will take maybe couple of days for me right now. It used to be slow. I have become very fast nowadays. There is no tracing. Usually everything is hand drawn. So if you see, this is like a black and white and red. I have drawn mandalas. This is my biggest one. If you see here, it's about maybe 2 feet to 3 feet big. So this took a couple of weeks. And this is drawn on a foam board and with a silver marker. So there are different mediums I have used over the years. This is on a wood piece. So I painted the wood piece, and this mandala method is like a dotted mandalas. So where you put dots all along to make this kind of picture. So I started with one dot and I let it dry and put another color dot on top and then seal it with the varnish kind of a thing. So this is how the wood one is done. And then this is on a canvas. I did it with the gold marker. So, and then this one is this is a kind of a, if you see, this is like a pot holder. Basically, my friend gave it to me, and then I just drew some mandala on it. So this one, if you see here, this is like a checkerboard when my kids used to play like in younger. So I just wanted to show how I recycle and just painted over it. So it's something you can keep under a like pot or anything like as a decorative. You can hang it also. So this particular one I did recently. It's like a Shivalinga illi. So what I did, this is one of my friend's idea to, she wanted to do it with the, like she said, it will look really nice with the light. So what I did here, if you see, so this is all hand drawn, and when I framed it, I just put some lights behind so that, if you see up close this Shiva mandala, what I did, it's like this is a Damaru. You see, this is a Damaru design, and this is a Trishula, and this is like a flower for Shiva. So this mandala is like, the ideas just came like, onto me when I was drawing. I don't plan any of my drawings as I go. Like whatever comes to my mind, I just keep drawing. So this one is like watercolor. So if you see up close, the designs are like interlinking. These are all hand drawn too. This is one I recently made. So it looks like more like a jewelry. So it's on a canvas. I painted the canvas black first, and then like basically this whole mandala is done on dots, like it's the different types of dots and lines. There is no pen or marker involved. It's just a dotting tool. So I just did like first on golden, and then I put these are not pearls. They are also paint. It's a fabric paint. I just put dots on all over. So this is one of the recent ones I made. And this is one of the mandalas. It's like interlinking designs. Basically, you have to make, you have to draw them. I usually draw and you have to color them, making it look like they are interlinking with each other. So I have done on tiles too. This is like on a tile, basic tile, like square tile. I just did on a like acrylic paint. So this one particular, this is a method. It's called like filling. Basically, what you are doing here is leaving the white open to show the designs and filling the black like background to make the designs to show. This is one of the harder ones I see because there is no place for errors. If you make an error and color a little more, the petals will go away. So it teaches you a lot of patience. So, and this is not a mandala. This is called a Lipan art. This is something I want to try, and like this is like a trial one I did. Basically, Lipan is a Gujarati art where you put mirrors. It's called mirror mud work. So you put the mirrors in between, and these are all handmade designs of clay, and you put them in different designs and paint them. Most of the Lipan art in Gujarat is white, but they can be colored too. This is another method I'm trying. It's like it's on a wood too. It's like I put resin on it so that it will look a little shiny and soft. This is a dotted mandala too. So this is drawn on a wood. If you see, like this might be from IKEA. Long time ago, I bought it like a bench alla mane antivala now for sitting on puja and all. I just painted it white and painted on top of it. So even though I had drawn mandalas for last 5 years, I had not done anything with it. They were all sitting in a artist portfolio for many years. And then my friend Misha here came up with the idea this summer that we should host the exhibition. And with that exhibition, I said, okay, I was not very much into it, publicizing or anything. I didn't do anything with it. It was just sitting there. So she said, no, we have to do something with it. Let's do an exhibition. So we came up with the idea, and within 2 weeks, and it was a COVID time, but with Shilpa and I, like we joined together and we did an exhibition. It was a socially distant exhibition, which went very well. And at that time, like, Sujata and Nisha, my friends, came here and helped me frame all of this. So it was like sitting in a portfolio for 5 years, and now it's looking really nice in my basement. So I'm very thankful for both of them for doing all this. So I have done like different, what I do every time I draw, I try to make it different than whatever I have done last time. So each one of my artwork, it might be a different medium, different design. I just try to do something different than whatever I did before. So this is on a black paper and a gold pen. So it's a simple mandala, not very complicated as I feel. So recently I was not very good at, or I never tried drawing faces, and especially when drawing gods, I felt like they have to be really nice. Mukha Lakshana irbeku ಹೇಳಿ. So I was trying, and recently like I started drawing Devis. This is a Lakshmi I drew this year, and Venkatramana and Durga, and Durga there, and here is a Krishna. And then this is how I used to draw before I was confident enough to draw the faces. So stilotes anta ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. It's like an error. But this was a Krishna I drew a couple of years ago. So these are some mini mandalas. They like, they look good, like joined together. I drew it with the color scheme and they just put it together. So I drew some of those too. These are like when I feel like I need mandala is like basically like a meditation, I feel, because you need so much of concentration when you're doing. If you miss, like, it's not like a hard art to do, anybody can do it. You just have to have that focus, and when you do it, it feels very good, because that's what I felt. Because when I started, I didn't think like, it will continue for 5 years. I have tried many, and I have, once I feel like I have mastered one skill, I move on to the another. That's how I have been. So this is one thing I felt like, it feels good when you draw. So this is something like, it's not a Sri Chakra, it's like, Sri Yantra, it's like a similar one I drew recently. It's a lot of, basically, it's a lot of math. If you like, there are squares and like measuring and drawing and coloring. There are several methods I used here, like brush pens. First, I drew with them in a pen, and then I used brush pens to color it, and then I used gold paint to do the dots. So it takes several hours to create these small ones. But I just, at the end of it, I just really enjoy it. I work as an accountant in a nearby like town, and every day when I come back from work, not now, like now we are all working from home, but that just gave me a lot more time to do many more of this. But whenever I used to come back from work, every day I just, like, at least 30 minutes I drew, because it gave me something like, it felt good, even if after a whole day of work, it's like drawing half an hour. It felt really good, So those, I just kept doing them. I didn't know why, but like now I feel like it's like more like a meditation, because you focus on so much. So this particular one I like, did on a watercolor, like basically watercolored the whole paper and then drew on top of it. So these are some of the older ones I did. These are all my beginner ones. So here is one of my favorite too. This is the first Devi I drew. Apart, like, this is, I think, 2 years old. This is one of my favorite too. This is one of them. Like, it's a really big one. If you see here, it's like maybe 1.5 feet to maybe I think 12 by 24 by 24. I'm not sure, but if you see each line and each design, it took a couple of weeks or maybe a month to finish. This is a little different where I drew, like, it is a mandala still, but a peacock. These are the dotted ones I drew on a canvas. It's like, basically the same thing I showed earlier. You keep putting the dots on top of each other. Like once one layer of dots are dried, you put on top of another one, just like that. So this is for our Yakshagana, which I did recently. So the Yakshagana face, and this is all mandalas. So I have some more here. This is all, this is one of them like watercolor, and I drew a boat in there, and then a mandala, and then a framework too. This one in there, like it's like a silver marker on a black paper. And this is again the same method where you fill the background and just leave the design not colored. So this is like a parijata flower, you can call it. So I have one more of the dotted ones in here. So I've gotten recently interested in, as I kept on learning, I tried doing some watercolor art. So that's my new thing now. So I'm trying to learn. I'm very basic. I'm at a beginner level at it, but I'm trying to do the watercolor art nowadays. As I talked about earlier, like, my another hobby, like which I still have, I haven't done much lately, but it is like a jewelry making. I made all these handmade, all these jewelries are handmade. So each one is like, most of the time, sometimes I try to match it to my saris or dresses. For example, if you see this one, I made this to match this sari. So I put like this a green color in here, this pink in here, and a little bit of yellow for this, and the black bead to match this. So the nice thing about making your own jewelry is like you can match anything. I just did like these bracelets and these earrings and everything to match. These are wooden beads, so they are extremely light. So this is one of this. This is one more thing I did for another sari. And this in here, some of them are like, I do the jewelry with the different kind of materials. These are, some of them are glass beads, some of them are wooden beads, and these are metal beads. So if you see here, these are like the silver metal beads, and this is one of them recently I did. And these are wooden beads. This can go on like a traditional sari, or even when I go to work, I wear them. I like to wear the jewelries I made because, and if I get bored, I break them and do it again. So that's a nice part of making, like, your own jewelry. You wear it for some times and you feel like changing it. You just cut it and do it all over again in a new design. Just it keeps my creative mind occupied, I guess. So these are some more I have in here. This is one of my favorite one I did for to match one of my saris. The sari had three colors, so I did it's yellow, green, and black. So yellow, green, and I stuck these black beads in between to match that. So this is one more I did recently. This is a wooden bead I bought. It's like a flat bead. So what I did, I had these Buddha pendants kind of a thing. So I glued them on top of these wooden circles which I had, and I made a necklace like this. Like this. So this is one more where you can see metal and pearl and beads, matching ones. I get my beads from different kind of stores. Wherever I go, whatever I see, like, if I find something nice, I just pick it up and then come and, like, collect them, and one day sit and match whatever, and I start doing them. I go to gem shows and collect beads from there too. So this is over the years. Right now, like, once I started mandala, this jewelry doing it has become a little less, but I'm hoping I'll continue to do some more. So, so if you come here right now, like, recently I started teaching mandala too. Like these are the works of my students, I should say. So this one is from Nisha, who started, this is her second one, and she's already so good at it. And this is from Raksha, who is not here today, but she's also doing very well. And this is from Sujata. She's very nice. This is their second drawing. So it is not like mandala is not hard. Anybody can do it because, it's not something like you cannot learn. It's just you have to have the focus. That's it. So I will, if I have time, I'll just show quickly, like, couple of steps how I start to do mandala. So basically, this is a paper. First, I draw some circles using a compass. So you will do a circle. And then basically mandala is dividing. It's math. It's dividing a circle in a million ways. So I draw these circles and then I put kind of like a grid. This is just to help me so that my designs are equal, like, in a equal like a equal distance. So that they look nice. So this is how I draw a grid. And then I start with usually I like these are all my pens and markers and supplies. I have, over the years, I have tried most of them, I should say, and I keep buying more. So I would start like this, like with the grid. It doesn't have to be from the beginning or end. You can start from anywhere. So it's just like connect the dots. So I'll keep connecting one dot to another and then make designs. So when I am doing, I really don't plan anything like this has to be this way, this has to be that way. Whatever comes to my mind and whatever the colors which appeals to me that day, I just keep from going there. So like this, like you will keep going and come up with the designs. So for example, I'm not going to finish all the whole thing because I don't want to take much time, but this is how you would be connecting if you want to finish this design. So like this. So this is how would you start, and then this is like I have one which is almost done. So this which I was working on prior. So these things are called. This is called a brush pen. Sometimes I just like to color with them. I use a different kind of materials too, like permanent markers, brush pens, acrylic paint, watercolor, like many more, like whatever is available. And depending upon what media I am drawing also, because like pen and paper will go, and for the tiles and all, you should have the waterproof painting, like waterproof acrylic, like that. So different, depending upon the media I'm painting on, I would choose my paints and mediums like that. So this is how you would color and finish. And this is one I recently, like, which is like a little big. So once you have this kind of grid, you can color, you can fill, it's up to you. So that's why I like mandala, because there is no rules. You can do whatever you want, and you can finish it whatever the way you like. And I keep telling, most of the time there is no mistake in mandala. Like even if you feel like you did a mistake, you just have to repeat them to finish the line. So if it is something like a small line or something you did, and repeating will teach you like to be focused more. So that's it. So if anyone is interested or anything, any questions you have, please let me know.
Tumba question Bindu, Nirmalaka. I will ask you one by one.
Oh,
But
okay.
First of all, before I forget, a couple of things.
Yeah.
One is I want to thank Vijaya Rambhat Midwest Chapter VP, for introducing both you and Shilpaka to me. Because we can see such a wonderful. It's like walking into a Havyaka art museum. It's
Thank
so
you.
beautiful to walk through your work, and a lot of compliments. First of all, a lot of compliments came. Great to
Thank
see.
you.
It's like a mandala meditation. Now Sandeepa, puja maduvageಲ್ಲ, like before big pujas, we will always
Yeah.
start with mandala. So we can,
Yes.
the meditative, beautiful effect of what it does to our minds and our body. ಈಗ
Yeah.
ಕೆಲವು ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಬಂದು,
Uh-huh.
so we walk through that one by one.
Yeah, sure.
Um, so how do you, let me kind of start in the reverse order here, it'll be easier for
Yeah.
me. How do you start the Krishna and Devi art?
Uh-huh. So the Krishna and Deviಗೆ ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದ?
ಕೇಳ್ತು.
Krishna and Deviಗೆ basically the beginning I will start anything mandala, anything will start with the circle. So I put a circle with the compass, and then Krishna and Devi, the face you have to hand draw. There is no, like, you cannot make it with the grid and all. It's
Okay.
like, it's a lot of practice, lot of erasing and drawing again, lot of erasing and drawing again. That's how I got to the faces. I recently started doing that. I was not comfortable drawing faces, especially when I feel like ದೇವರು ಮಾಡುವಾಗ I feel like ಆ ಮುಖ ಲಕ್ಷಣ ಬೇಕು ಹೇಳಿ. I was very particular about that. So I was like taking my own time practicing. So over the years, like, I started with, like, even with the Devis or whatever it is, the face, I draw a circle and I kind of have the designs I just draw on top of them, just like a grid hakondu.
I see. So that came from Ravi Shankarana from Colorado. You also
Okay.
said you really liked symmetry, your amazing meticulous work ಹೇಳಿ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದು. And
Yes.
Kanchana Akka, I think was Kanchana from New Jersey, Rico. She's asking Nirmala, do you sell them?
Yeah, I recently started selling them when I did the exhibition, because people started asking. And I forgot to mention, I have a website. If you go to nimsgallery.com, you can see all my artwork there. They are numbered. And if you are interested in any of them, please let me know. I have in my email listed there. You can just send me the product number and I'll tell you what it is and what material it is, how big it is, and how it is framed, because most of my artwork is framed now. And when we did the framing also, thanks to my friends Nisha and Sujata, when we did this, when in summer we just put together, as I told you, the show in 2 weeks, and they came every day to help me put together like all these into frames, and each one is framed with different backgrounds. So like some of them are printed backgrounds, whatever we felt went with the art, we just framed it like that. So they are different sizes and different. So if you see here, this is kind of plain, like, it has a little bit of design in the back, you cannot really see, but like, it's framed. See this one, we put a printed background in it. So for example, this one we priced it at $30 including the frame, and this one we priced it at 35 including the frame. This is a glass frame, so everything is included, so that if a buyer wants to buy, they don't have to do any work, they can just hang it or keep it like that. So here is one more, a little more modern, I feel like half colored and half didn't. So
okay, very good. Your website in a chat room ಅಲ್ಲಿ post ಮಾಡiki when
okay.
when Shilpa is presenting. And then somebody asked about Bhimanda is asking significance of Sri Chakra Mandala. That if you want to explain it later, you can explain it in the channel also.
Yeah, it's not like a really Shri Chakra, because I really don't know, and my husband is a little bit of believer. He's like, if you really don't know 100% how to draw it, maybe you shouldn't try. So I didn't. It's like, it just looks similar to Shri Chakra. It's not an exact Shri Chakra, because I didn't want to do like, which is like not right. So I know Sri Chakra has a lot of calculations. So I don't know if it is the correct way, but like, I don't think it is a correct Sri Chakra. It's not. It just looks similar, because I really wanted to draw something like that.
Okay, okay, very good. Okay, excellent, Nirmala. I mean, I'm going to share your website here in the channel as well,
Thank you.
nimsgallery.com.
Uh-huh.
Like that.
nimsgallery.com.
Okay, ಮಾಡಿದೆ. So
Mhm.
once again, kudos to you, and this was just fantastic.
Thank you.
Towards the
Thank
end,
you.
we see, and if people have more questions, we can talk to you.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, with that, by the way, we have over 1,000 people that are enjoying the program, both YouTube and Zoom here. With this,
Thank you.
go to our last presenter, and uh, that will be Shilpaka. Let me spotlight you.
Thank you
Namaste.
so much, Balanna.
Thank you. ಧನ್ಯವಾದ. ನಮಸ್ತೆ ಶಿಲ್ಪಾ, ಹೆಂಗಿದ್ದಿ?
Namaskara ellarigu. Thank you, Balana, for and also for HAA for giving me this opportunity to present here today. And I'm really glad to be sharing this space with so many talented presenters. And thank you for that as well. And thanks to all the audience for giving me your time and for especially on a weekend. Thanks for that too. And before I go into showing my artwork, I just want to give a little background as to how I got into it and what made me, what joy I get from it. So, as Balana introduced already, I'm Shilpa, I'm from Mysore, and I'm here in the US with my very supportive husband, Brahmanaspati. He's a Havyaka from Shirsi, and an equally supportive 7-year-old son, Aditya. Thanks to both of them for being a part of this a passion of mine. And to give a little bit more background as to how I started on this, um, I, I'll come to that a little few seconds later. But just on my professional life, I spoke a little bit about my personal life. On my professional life, I work as a scientist in a biotech company. The company I work for, we are into making biofuels. I joined this company in New Zealand, where I moved after my PhD in France with Marie Curie Fellowship. I moved to New Zealand to join my husband there. And then from there, the company that I was working for relocated to US, and that's how we landed up here as well. So we've been living in Chicagoland area for almost 6.5 years now. And so, with this science background and with my passion for research and all those things, how did I get into art, exploring different artworks? To talk a little bit about that, so this all started about 4 years ago, 4 to 5 years ago, when I was diagnosed with early onset of Parkinson's disease. So, if most of you are not familiar about this, this is a neurodegenerative disease which affects movement and mobility. So to keep up my dexterity, I started drawing mandalas. So that's how I got uh, into art and exploring art. So what if not, if I can't explore and do research in the lab, I can still do it here in exploring different art forms. So that's what I'll be showing you today. Some of my artworks and how I'll walk you through different types of artworks that I've been exploring. And as I do that, please do let me know if you have any questions. And yeah, let's start. My husband will be helping me with the.
ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ನಾವು ಈಗ ಶಿಲ್ಪಾನ ಆರ್ಟ್ ಪೀಸ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ತೋರಿಸ್ತೇವೆ. ಕ್ಲಾರಿಟಿ ಏನಾದರೂ ಬಂದಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದರೆ ಹೇಳಿ.
So I started first with mandalas. So this is one of the mandalas that I drew on a canvas board using acrylic paint. There was a template and as such, hakondirilla. So just as Nirmala explained, it's just intuitive. As it comes to you, you go on drawing patterns. And if you do a mistake, repeat it, that becomes a pattern. So that's what happened here as well. So with mandala in the shuru madi, then I moved into relief art. Relief art, you might wonder what is it? What is relief, anta? Relief is it's a Latin word derived from a Latin word which means to project a three-dimensional object on a two-dimension surface. So it gives 3D effect. So ಇದು one of them ಮಾಡಿದ್ದು early on. So if you, I don't know if you can see it closely. You can see the bridge popping out, the mountains popping out, pretty much except for the sky, everything else is popping out of the board here. So that's what it gives, that's how we bring out the three-dimensional effect in this one. So ಹಾಗೆ ಇದೊಂದು ಮಾಡಿರೋದು ರಿಲೀಫ್ ಆರ್ಟ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ. So this is a city in Switzerland. I miss Europe sometimes. So now because of COVID, we can't travel. So I'm like, why not just bring those memories by making some of those places, pictures of those places. And I made the city in. This is like a poster picture of the city in Switzerland. So then template agitkondu did this. If you see the balcony is popping out, and there's an angle to the stairs here and to this to the hill. Even though the arch there, it gives a lot of it has a lot of depth and a lot of perspective as well. And the next one here I have is this is a castle. Most of you who've been in the US for a long time and who have traveled to New York might recognize this one. This is this is part of Ball's Castle in New York. It's the powerhouse of it, though. So I'll just try replicating that again in 3D art form. If you see Lala abundant kalgalu, it's all projected out along with the tree as well. And ಇಲ್ಲಿ left there's supposed to be a clock. I left it open for now, just so that like if whoever is interested in this art piece, I can put the time that they want, so that the time would be set in stone in their house, just for some memory and for some fun. And ಇದು ಇನ್ನೊಂಥರ ರಿಲೀಫ್ ಆರ್ಟ್ ವರ್ಕ್. ಇದು ಪರ್ಷಿಯನ್ ರಿಲೀಫ್ ಆರ್ಟ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಕಾಮನ್ ಇನ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ, ಈ ಥರ ಆರ್ಟ್ ವರ್ಕ್. ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಂದ್ರೆ ಕರ್ವ್ ಪ್ಯಾಟರ್ನ್ಸ್ ಡ್ರಾ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗಿ ಲೇಯರ್ಸ್ ಬೈ ಲೇಯರ್ಸ್ ಯು ಬ್ರಿಂಗ್ ಇಟ್ ಔಟ್. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದೆನ್ ನೀವು ಆಯಿಲ್ ಪೇಂಟ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಇದಕ್ಕೆ. ಆಯಿಲ್ ಪೇಂಟ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ವಿ ರಬ್ ಇಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಗಿವ್ಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಓಲ್ಡ್ ಮಾರ್ಬಲ್ ಲುಕ್, ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾರ್ಬಲ್ ಲುಕ್ ಹಾಗೆ. ಸೊ ದಟ್ಸ್ ಹೌ ದಿಸ್ ಒನ್ ಇಸ್ ಡನ್. If you see the layers, you peek off the layers, so sumar ಮೇಲ್ಗಡೆ ಬಂದಿದೆ. Each line here on the edge represents like how many times I have got it embossed out of from the background. Yes. And this one was another fun project. ಇದಕ್ಕೇನು ಪ್ಲಾನ್ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ. I have painted the background on a waste piece of drywall. Use ಮಾಡ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ. And the board sat for almost a year. And I was feeling that it's empty, it needs something to be filled in. And I came across a picture, hingane surf ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ internet ನಲ್ಲಿ I just came across this picture of this girl walking on the shore. So I just captured that one, and relief art ನಲ್ಲಿ again I used different medium for different kinds of relief art. So I just brought this on, and this is like one of the pieces that like many people have liked. And I think I must have made at least 4 or 5 of this repeatedly. And the next one coming here, illi hatradalli bandre. This is one of the works that I did recently. This is recreation of Raja Ravi Varma's paintings. Most of you might be familiar with Raja Ravi Varma's artworks. Usually ಅದು ದೀಪ ಹಿಡಿದು ನಿಂತಿರೋ ಹುಡುಗಿ ಹೆಣ್ಮಗುದೆಲ್ಲನೂ ತುಂಬ ಪಾಪ್ಯುಲರ್. ದಿಸ್ ಒನ್ ಐ ಹ್ಯಾವೆಂಟ್ ಕಮ್ ಅಕ್ರಾಸ್, ಸೊ ಐ ಥಾಟ್ ಲೆಟ್ ಮಿ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಟ್ರೈ ಡೂಯಿಂಗ್ ದಿಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. ಸೊ ಅಗೇನ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಬಾಗಿಲಿದೆ, ದಟ್ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಗಿವನ್ through relief art. I have used different material for that one, and then for the lady itself I've used a different material. Nirmala heldange painting face is like really challenging and difficult. So first I started with the face, and once I got the expressions that I was okay with, then I moved to the other parts of the work. So idralli part of it also has gilding work andre foil use ಮಾಡೋದು, different kinds of foil. I'll come to that next. So ಇವಾಗ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಇದು I call gilding work. To complete with gilding work, This is another one of those gilding works. ಅದೇ ಹೇಳಿದ್ನಲ್ಲ ಫಾಯಿಲ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಮಾಡೋದಂತ. ಇದು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ವಾಸ್ ಬೋರ್ಡ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಮಾಡಿರೋದು. I've stuck silver color foil and gold color foil and painted the lady who's like really happy dancing. And this is one of my favorites as well. And ಇದು ಪಕ್ಕದಲ್ಲಿರೋದು ಇದನ್ನು ಅಷ್ಟೇ ವೆರಿ ಸಿಂಪಲ್ ಪೇಂಟಿಂಗ್ on a on a on a wooden board, and then this is, I call this as dance of fireflies. ಇದು ನಾವು ಸ್ಮೋಕಿ ಮೌಂಟೇನ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗಿದ್ದಾಗ ಅಲ್ಲಿ one of the pictures that has like stayed in my memories. I wanted to put it in some form, bring it in some form out. So this is what I did for that. So the golden dots are again like I've used foil for that, gold foil use ಮಾಡಿರೋದಲ್ಲಿ. And this is my favorite corner and part of the house, our living room right now. Again, there's like different mixed artworks really. One Tanjavur artwork ಇದೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. Traditional Tanjavur artwork nalli people don't use silver foil, but I have experimented with silver foil and I think it really gives another dimension or another perspective to the work. And again, idu deepa idunu ashte usually silver foil ಅಥವಾ bronze foil, rose gold foil ಎಲ್ಲ ಯಾರು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ. I use this one here. And ಮೇಲಿರೋದು ಇವಾಗ ಸಂಗೀತ ಅವರು ತೋರಿಸಿದ ಹಾಗೆ ಫ್ಯಾಬ್ರಿಕ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಆರ್ಟ್ ವರ್ಕ್ ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ತುಂಬ ಟ್ರೆಂಡಲ್ಲಿದೆ ಇವಾಗ. ಸೊ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಯೂಸ್ಡ್ ಫಾಯಿಲ್ ಬ್ಲ್ಯಾಕ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ವಸ್ ಮೇಲೆ I've used silver foil and painted the rest with acrylic paint. This one is again on ಒಂದು ತುಂಬಾ ಹಳೆ ಶಿವ ನಟರಾಜಂದು ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಚ್ಯೂ ಇತ್ತು, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ I put some foil on it and stuck it on a board with fabric. And similar concept ಮೇಲೆ ಇದೊಂದು ಪ್ರಭಾವಳಿ ಮಾಡಿರೋದು. And then the one on this side as well. And ಇದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಇದು ಬಂದರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಸಮ್ಮರಲ್ಲಿ we pulled out some stuffs from our backyard. ಪೈನ್ ಮರ ಇತ್ತು, evergreen shrubs ಎಲ್ಲ ಇತ್ತು. So we pulled it out and I told my husband to not throw them away. He was like, what are you going to do with them? These are crab waste ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. And I'm like, okay, give me some time, I'll show you ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ I started working on it. And I've turned this into these stands. This can be like a plant stand or it can be like as I have displayed here. Can be used for different purposes. And again, here is another part again with Tanjavur painting, but not traditional Tanjavur painting. I've mixed and tried experimenting with it. They do face Deepa. And everything else goes really well with like brass collection. So hagagi it's a nice concept to put them all together. And here I have mandala in how do I say, relief art again, and with some little bit of mirror work in it. Which the normal plate ಮೇಲೆ ಇದೆ board ಮೇಲೆ, so it can be either hung on a wall or it can be used like I have displayed here. And ಇದು ರೀಸೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದು ಮಂಡಲ ಒಂದು ಸಣ್ಣ ಯುಟಿಲಿಟೀಸ್ ಟೇಬಲ್ ಅಥವಾ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. It's a very small one. Again, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮಂಡಲ I combined it with foil work, building work. ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಗೋಲ್ಡ್ ಫಾಯಿಲ್ ಅಂಟಿಸಿರೋದು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮಧ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ. And this one is Nip and Kham. Nirmala ಅವ್ರು ತೋರಿಸಿದ್ರಲ್ಲ, ಅವರು ಟ್ರೈ ಮಾಡಿರೋದು. I have Nirmala ಹೇಳಿದಾಗೆ ಇದು ಟ್ರೆಡಿಷನಲಿ it's not colored, and I have experimented here with coloring everything. It goes well in mud rooms or sun rooms, ಆ ಥರ place ನಲ್ಲಿ. And this one is like one of my very favorite ones. I call it as Ubuntu. ನೀವು IT background irorellaru you'll be familiar with the word Ubuntu. Ubuntu andre it's a Zulu phrase which is derived from a Zulu phrase which means a person is a person because of another person. So that's what I felt like when I did this. Ili Varli pictures there, so representing tribal art from India, and Kokapelli anta tribal art from North America. Idu, and that's combined with African tribal art form. And again, all of them are together in a mandala style with Aztec patterns, idala Aztec patterns. So to me, it really signifies like people are from different parts of the world, but then we are all the same at the end, and we are all so interdependent on each other that we forget that in our daily life. So this is one of my favorites. Um, what else? Yeah. And yeah, ಈಗ ಇಷ್ಟೊತ್ತು ರಿಲೀಫ್ ಆರ್ಟ್ದೆಲ್ಲಾನು ತೋರಿಸಿದೆ ಮಂಡಲಾದು. Now I'll share some of my works on pyrography ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. Pyrography means it's burning on wood. Art burning on wood ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. So again, like I start on the template ತಗೊಂಡು, this is my son's picture which I portrait picture ಅದನ್ನ ಮರದ ಮೇಲೆ ಬರ್ನ್ ಮಾಡಿರೋದು. Same, this one is again one of my favorites. Idu first experiment ಮಾಡಿದ್ದು pyrography ಮೇಲೆ. It's a broken chopping board, so if you see one side ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕಟ್ ಆಗಿರೋದು ಗೊತ್ತಾಗುತ್ತೆ. The concept, like to me, it's like again like interdependence of people. We can't be individuals. We are also dependent on each other. And it's not just people, but also like nature. Everything is in an ecosystem. That was the concept I had in mind. And again, my son's picture. I've done this a few more of such portrait wood burning art. The quick up ತೋರಿಸ್ಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ಅದು ಹೇಗೆ ಮಾಡೋದಂತ, we get a kit like or a heating box like this one here, which this one has 2 pens, that's what they call, and we can change the tip here of each of these pens here. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಇದು ಟೆಂಪ್ರೇಚರ್ ಸೆಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೋದು. ಸೆಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು it takes a couple of seconds for it to get to the temperature we want, and then you take a piece of wood and then start drawing the patterns that you want to draw. So ಎಷ್ಟು ಡಾರ್ಕ್ ಬೇಕು ಎಷ್ಟು ಲೈಟ್ ಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದು ಡಿಪೆಂಡ್ಸ್ ಆನ್ ಹೌ ಲಾಂಗ್ ಯು ಕೀಪ್ ದ ಪೆನ್ ಆನ್ ದ wood, and the temperature it's set to. This is similar to ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ this is similar to pencil shading. ಆದರೆ pencil shading ನಲ್ಲಿ ಮಿಸ್ಟೇಕ್ ಆದರೆ you can use eraser and take it off, but ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ it's not so straightforward. You have to use like sanding paper and like really get to erasing the work. It's hard to fix any mistake in this one. So this is what I have been doing, and then this has been my passion. As I said, I just want to share 2 reasons as to why I started doing this. These are 2 selfish reasons of mine. One of them is like these are for 2 selfish reasons, and one then andre with Parkinson's I know how difficult it is. Without taking pills every 3 hours I can't even hold a brush or a pen. So if any of you are interested in any kind of art or have any passion, just agle Gopalan or helidru, don't wait for time, just go ahead and start chasing your dreams or your passion that you have anta heli. So that's one of the selfish reasons I showed all these things to emphasize on that. And the second selfish reason is again like as I said, I know how difficult it is from being a normal person now being restricted with mobility. So when I see another person or anyone with any disability, I feel for them more. So one such person is a kid who is a 4.5-year-old boy. Sorry.
Okay.
Mohakanta, he can't hear. He's in India, and his mom is struggling to fund for his cochlear implant surgery. So I thought, like, why not use this art for a purpose and for a cause entirely? I shared this with Nirmala, so she was like very willingly, she jumped like before even I gave her the details. She was like, I'm with you on this, and Taheli, she forwarded. She's along with me on this. So one of the things that we are doing is like we are selling some of our artworks. So most of the ones that I have displayed here, showed you around today, will be is on sale, and the money fund that we get from this sale will be used for the treatment of this boy, 4.5-year-old boy in India. It will be completely transparent. If any of you want to help Mohak and also show your support to Mohak, please reach out to us. We'll give our details to through Balana, or we'll share our details through Balana with all of you guys. Thanks again, Balana, for giving me this time. And to all of you out there for your time, lunchtime, I thought you're still sitting there and like listening to me. Thanks again for this.
So, I mean, big standing ovation to you and all of you. I will get to all the comments and questions in a minute. First of all, the none of your presentation had no element of selfishness. It was very inspiring, and what you're doing is really grateful to all of us. And I want to get to a few things. One is Shankarana and Leelak, I think they want to share something. Let me see if I can spotlight them. Yeah, there we go.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me this chance. I'm very lucky. We are very lucky to live in close proximity to such beautiful artists. But one kate helbeku anta. Now, Nirmala exhibition hodaga, there were all these things. But Shankarana said, my husband, Shankar said, ನಮ್ಗಿದು ಇಷ್ಟ ಆಗಿದೆ ಆದ್ರೆ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಮಾಡೋ ಕೈ ತರ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಡಕ್ಕಾಗತ್ತ. She did it and we have it. So it was so wonderful that she could just accommodate our wishes. To Shilpa, we had a harder thing to do. Shambhu Hegde ಅವರು ಅದೇ ಕೆರೆಮನೆ ಶಂಭು ಹೆಗ್ಡೆ ಅವರು ನಮ್ಮ ಮನೆಗೆ ಬಂದಿದ್ರು. ಅವಾಗ ನಮಗೊಂದು ಚಿಕ್ಕ ಮೆಡಾಲಿಯನ್ ತರ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ರು. ಅವಳು ಆರ್ಟ್ ನೋಡಿ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಇದು ಈ ಮೆಡಾಲಿಯನ್ ಎಲ್ಲಾರ ತೋರಿಸ್ಬೇಕು, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ವಿ ರೆಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟ್ ದಿಸ್ ಯಕ್ಷಗಾನ ಆರ್ಟಿಸ್ಟ್ ಸೋ ಮಚ್. ಸೊ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಮ್ಯಾಚಿಂಗ್ ಆಗಿ ಏನಾರ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕಾಗತ್ತಾ? ಶಿ ಹ್ಯಾಡ್ ಒನ್ ವಿತ್ ದ ಡ್ಯಾನ್ಸರ್. ತೋರಿಸಿದ್ದಕ್ಕೆ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ಶಿ ಡಿಡ್. ಅಂಡ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಕ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮೀ, ನಾನು ಐ ಟ್ರೈ ಟು ಪುಟ್ ದ ಒನ್ ದಟ್ ಶಂಭು ಹೆಗ್ಡೆ ಅವ್ರು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದನ್ನು ಅದನ್ನೇ ತೋರಿಸ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ. ಇದು ನೋಡಿ ಈ ಪಿಕ್ಚರ್ ಮಾಡಿರೋದು ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಾ? ಫೋಕಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಈಗ ಫೋಕಸ್ ಇದೆ. ಇದು ಶಿಲ್ಪ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದು ರಿಲೀಫ್ ಆರ್ಟ್ ನಮ್ ಕೇಳಿದ ಯಕ್ಷಗಾನಕ್ಕೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮೇಲಿರೋದು ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಒನ್ ದಟ್ ಶಂಭು ಹೆಗ್ಡೆ ಅವ್ರು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದು. ಇದು ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಅವಳಗ್ ತೋರ್ಸಿದ್ವಿ ನಾವು. ಇದನ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಇನ್ಕಾರ್ಪೊರೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಏನಾರ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕಾಗತ್ತಾ ಅಂತ. And this is the beautiful art she made and gave us. You know, we are so happy that we can put this up. ಇದು ಅವ್ರ ಇದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಹಿಂದ್ಗಡೆ ಅವ್ರ ಲೇಬಲ್ ಇದೆ. So I just wanted to share that with you, that not only are they great artists, but they are superhuman beings also. And you know, we're really happy to know all of them.
That's right, really.
Yeah, Shankar, I didn't want to.
No, it's okay. No, I did not want to say anything.
Thank you.
That is awesome.
For really bringing this out from both of us.
Thank you.
So we will get to some of the questions before, and then also we would like to know a little bit more how we can help that young boy. Okay, so let me see. Just the way people asked, Nirmala, let me go back here. I shared both of your website in the both YouTube and the Zoom. Okay, so now people are impressed that you have a PhD, and despite all the obstacles in life, your dedication is very inspiring into art. Kanchanaka says that great artwork, Shilpa, love the 3D effect. Kanchanaka corrected that she's from Boston, I do remember that. A great work, Shilpa, great talent, Shilpa. Sangeeta writes, very informative. And also talked about the Jenu earlier, commendable artwork. Okay, let me see if there's any question. Ravi Shankaran also writes, working through all adversities, creating such amazing artwork, your inspiration, kudos on your academic achievements. Okay, all right, very good. Put together everything so beautifully, says Sujata Kohli. Shobha says amazing display of eclectic variety of art. Okay, wonderful support. Okay, the Brahma, please send details to the support. Okay, very good, very good. Everybody writing, including Gopalan, Sangeet, and other people are writing wonderful comments. Let me see YouTube here. Any Vijayaka is writing great art from all of you. Anjali is writing kudos to you, all of you. Nice presentations, great hidden talent in HA families. Thank you for this forum. Okay, all right. Thank you very much. So overall, I think people are very impressed, and we have, as I said, 1,200 people who watched this program today, which is just remarkable. One Shilpaka, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಸಾರಿ ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಾ details about how we can support this child. Can you say that one more time?
Sure, Balana. First, let me thank Nirmala for joining hands with me in this one. So, now one brochure ready ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೇವೆ. I'll share that brochure with ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಕಳಿಸ್ತೀನಿ. There will be details about like the price of the artwork and whom to approach to buy which artwork ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. And then, and we'll take it from there. And there'll be transparency ಇರುತ್ತೆ. We'll be sending money to directly to, we'll be paying it to the hospital where the boy would get the surgery from. So hagagi, once we share the brochure, please reach out to Nirmala and me, depending on your art piece that you like, and we'll work from there on with you.
ಓಕೆ, ನೀವೊಂದು ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ, ನಮ್ದು ಹವ್ಯಕ ಟೆಲಿಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಚಾನೆಲ್ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಯರ್ಲಿ 450 families are there. You can just post it there so that it reaches out to everybody.
Sure. I can do that. Yeah, sure. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, again, like thanks to all of you and to Vijayaka from Midwest Havyaka chapter for supporting both me and Nirmala on this one. And
thank you very much.
Okay, any closing comments or any closing questions or anything like that before I end live stream on YouTube? People in Zoom can stay for a couple more minutes.
Just I want to say a sentence. Shilpa, you have done a great job to say you are real Shilpi. That's it. Thank you.
Very well said. Okay, I will end YouTube streaming. People on Zoom can stay. And next week we'll have another program. I will tell you, I will announce about it. It's most likely about Havyaka. I'll announce afterwards in the channels. Thank you. Okay, Zoom. So now I have ended